Hey, hot enough for you? So according to my rules, I have to shoot myself.
Yeah, I
I'm
think so.
not sure how that goes exactly. It is 5:47. I'm Danny Bonaduce. This is KZOK. Good morning.
Good morning.
You look adorable.
Oh, thank you. So do you.
But I would say it's a disguise.
Because I'm not really adorable?
I say your heart is not the same color as your outfit.
No, my outfit's pink and my heart is black.
I didn't even have to say it because I was
Yes.
going to fix it in case you got a feeling. So no, your heart's a deep red. Honey.
Right,
That's what
yeah.
I meant. You
Well,
know.
So speaking of, I've got a serious question for you. I'm lucky to be here right now. Because
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
you are.
We agree every day.
Yeah.
Every day I think, man, that girl's lucky.
Sometimes we wonder how it happens.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder how I got here because you're so lucky to be here.
I'm pretty sure my building's on fire right now.
Yeah.
Really?
Do you think I should call Matt?
No.
No, just let him sleep in.
Yeah,
Okay.
totally.
The poor boy works
What are
hard.
the odds with, and it's me too. Well, me mostly, especially with coming in here, opening the mic and saying, hi, this is what's happening already.
Yeah.
There's a chance you're wrong.
No, I'm 99% sure my building's on fire. So my building, so think of it this way, my
Do you
building
really
is,
want to stand by that?
is a high rise, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
attached to that is Bavarian Meats. It's not technically the same building, but they are butted up against each other. So they connect. And there's about 50 fire trucks outside. And I smell smoke. And I
So-
saw flames. So,
So
I'm pretty
you
sure.
saw flames?
Yes.
Wow.
When you left?
Yeah.
Wow.
Wait.
I had to
Would there
speed
not
in
be-
to get here
What did you...
because they were starting to
Okay.
block off the entire road.
Right. Now, here's what you said.
Yeah.
You said, I'm pretty sure my building's on fire. Paul said, should you call Matt? I said, no, that's all fun. You're crazy if you saw flames in your building and you don't call your husband.
Well,
Or
tech-
run back into the building to wake him up?
run back
Sarah's
into
going
a
to run
burning
back into a
building?
building. You know why she's going to do it, Paul? There's a puppy.
No,
in
but
there, and Sarah's going to save it.
And a
Instead of
pregnant
that, she's going to wait 20 minutes and then wonder if she should call her husband.
Here's what's going to happen. Nothing. And he's going to be fine. And it's an early morning. I'm in a rush. I guess the Bavarian meat place, which I always think is a front for something.
Yeah.
But there's people in there. It's
Yeah,
not like
more so than our across the street, our ice cream shop. there.
exactly.
Oh,
But it
true.
seems like who's buying Bavarian? How many Bavarians are there? How many Bavarians do you fit in Seattle? That's my question. I think the answer is 9, but I don't really know.
Well, hopefully he'll be okay. I'll keep everybody posted. I'm
Yeah, because
clearly
we're on
very-
pins and needles. How mad
very
is.
worried. You had a burning up hot weekend.
I did indeed. Thank you for that. I was in Palm Springs for my sister. She is doing that. My sister, she's not like nice in the sense of I was going to say, my sister stubs her toe and she comes up with flowers and daisies. That's not her. She's kind of a tough customer, but she finds a way to get. That's it. I was going to say she finds a way to find the good in everything. Totally not true. She's kind of a terrible
No?
person. The one with the cancer. I think the cancer's probably afraid of her.
Oh.
But she finds a way to do something and she will mold the world to her desires. So she gets cancer.
Yeah.
She doesn't have her job. She can't do her job at House Hunters Television or Pytown Television for House Hunters, which
Yeah.
is her dream job. And it would be anybody's dream job to produce that television show. I mean, every week, somewhere new, somewhere exciting, a whole new family. I mean, it's a grind from what I understand. It's about 4 real hassle days, but I'm sure she's used to it by now. So she gets cancer. They tell her it doesn't matter at all. The day you feel like coming back, you come back, the job will be right here. As a matter of fact, who are some of your favorite people in this company that can produce? And she names, she goes, good, they'll do your job. And they'll get paid to do your job. And, that's super nice.
Yeah.
Like, how long? You get a big bag full of cancer there, Paul.
Right.
How long do you think Carrie holds this job for you?
3-4 days maybe.
See, I wouldn't even see the end of a shift. Not for you, for me. It's like, because the station wouldn't go silent. There'd be somebody talking
Right,
here. That, like within, I'd say, Carrie, I have Ke, and he'd have a guy in here. Matter of fact, a disc jockey named Ke. That's what he'd have. So they're going to hold the job for her. So her hair falls out. And being an Italian woman, well, I almost said a big Italian woman, but that was for a visual. She's not a big Italian woman, and she'd kill me, cancer-ridden or not. She would not appreciate that. She's an Italian woman with crazy, black, thick hair that she's happy about. She's not real proud of it or anything like that. It's just it came from birth, but she's got it and has never been without it. So her hair falls out, and she knows that her hair is going to fall out, and she wigs a little bit, not a lot, because she's Celia. But then she goes, you know what? I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a book, a prep for chemotherapy and hair loss, because everybody I have talked to keeps saying, I was just so shocked when my hair fell out.
Yeah.
Well, she's writing a book with pictures, big picture book, and it's called The Bald Men I Have Loved, or it was the last time I checked, that's what it was called. And it's what it is. It's a prep for what it's going to be like to lose your hair and other things that come along with cancer. But that's the end. 2 publishers were fighting for it.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I banged around my publishers for 2 years and my book was called something like How's the Guy from the Partridge Family? I took you a bunch of drugs and possibly killed somebody. Part 1. That's the name, my first name.
That was your first book, though, right? She's written a few books,
11.
a handful?
11. Everybody in my family's written a book. It's having them published. That's the trick on it.
But yours are published,
Don't
yeah?
let a Bonaduce say, oh, man, I've written 9 books. Well, of course you have. You're a weird savage. They're on your counter, and why did you ever do such a thing for no money? But yeah, so anyway, she'll get it done. And people, I think, will appreciate it. I was going to say like it. I don't know if anybody's going to like it. It's a tough day at the beach. But I think people will appreciate it. And I think people surrounded by people losing their hair will appreciate it as much or not more as people losing their hair. I am now thinking of keeping my hair this length.
Yeah?
Well, I can't wear a hat with hair much longer than this. You take it off and you've got the big band around your hair. That looks just terrible.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be stuck in a hat all day. So
You do look good with a shaved head.
Thank
Not
you.
a lot
Yeah,
of people
second
do.
compliment out of Sarah this morning. And I said, let your husband burn. And she says, you look great today. It's a weird world that we live in.
You lucked out, too, because you never know before you do it. And so even going into it, we were all saying, oh, you're going to look great, Danny. But we were lying.
I didn't believe it.
What we
No
meant
way.
was, we hope you look great, Danny.
Yeah, well,
And you do.
well, thank you, dear, but I don't look great with a full head of hair. I'm 5'6" and I've been through a lot. That's the
I think
best
it
I
makes
can.
you look distinguished.
Yeah, you know what? I think it does something. You know what I mean? I think it does something. So I would maybe keep it not this length, but a half an inch longer. My hair's, what would you say, about a half an inch long right now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So keep it up maybe an inch.
But you were with your sister over the weekend, not in Seattle. You kind of left that part out.
Oh! That's a bad storytelling policy right there. I was in Palm Springs where it was 113 degrees.
That's horrendous.
Amy grew up vacationing in Palm Springs with her grandparents, had a place there, and she loves it. And all the time I say, before we spend any money, let's go there for a weekend in July.
Yeah, sure.
Well, I have now been to the desert for a weekend in July, and it was stupid. So I decided it's 2.1 miles to my sister's house where I'm going to be. So I decided, well, I'll walk it because that's what I want to know. Can you walk? We walk every day. We walk Green Lake. We got 3 miles, not just 2 miles. I said, I'm going to walk this and see how hard it is. I knew it'd be hot. It said on my phone, 113 degrees. I knew it'd be hot. I made it about 1.25 miles when I started to call an Uber and say, this is crazy. I can't possibly make this. Well, I don't know it was me, because I'm okay with my Uber app. I do it successfully every single time. I could not get a guy to come and get me. And they'd all say, we're here. And I would say, well, I'm here. And they'd say, it's over 1 mile away. There's something wrong with your, whatever it was. So then my phone starts to go dead. And I think, if my phone dies, I will not have the address of where I'm going, but I can remember it. I remember it right now. But how do you get there? I remember it said take a right, take a left, go straight to block. I don't have any of that, and I'll die in the heat.
Yeah.
So I called my sister and said, hey, I'll die in the heat. And she said, well, of course you will. It's 113 and you have a backpack on.
News is brought to you by Johnson RV. As we speak, President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are hanging out, meeting privately, joined only by translators. This is taking place in the Finnish presidential palace. The two leaders entered the Gothic Hall. They sat on 2 ornate chairs and they did a bit of a joint speech.
So my mind works so slowly today. I'm waiting to go, hey, did they listen to something in the Gothic Temple? I don't know how this joke's going to go. My head hurts. Oh, my God, what do I do? By the way, so did they listen to The Cure? Am I right?
I don't know.
I don't get it.
Where were they?
The Finnish presidential palace?
No, the Gothic something. It's goth music was the joke. I couldn't remember a goth
That
band
was
to
a
sing
walk, Danny.
Oh, I know. Believe me, that's why I'm walking you through right now. Saying, here's how my mind's working. You're going to have to help today.
Well, they did a bit of a joint statement, went to their private meeting, and are expected to do another quick joint statement after their sit down. So it's the first time they're sitting down together alone, but there are translators there, but no vice presidents.
No,
No,
it's crazy.
advisors.
The few people that are there, it's a big deal. I've heard the only people there is going to be translators, but everybody seems so upset. I thought maybe that is going to change. It's unprecedented,
Right,
Although
yeah.
I don't know why it's the biggest deal in the world if you have your translator with you and they've got theirs. I think it's kind of, hey, stop playing with our elections. Well, I didn't mean to. Please give me more borscht. Okay, but stop playing with our elections.
I mean, I guess it's fine if both leaders are fully up to speed on, current affairs.
Well,
but I don't think
believe
that's the case.
Although he is current affairs, so as long as he knows what stupid thing he did last.
yeah.
Well, what Paul said is what experts are concerned about. They said that he tends not to be fully briefed, that Donald Trump doesn't want the person to go in and give him the briefs of here's the latest thing happening today, here's what's happening in Russia, or here's the latest thing that Putin said, that he kind of wings it.
Right.
And there's nobody there to like pull him back or push him forward.
See, if he were normal and or I liked him better, I'd like all of this.
Yeah?
He's going to go meet with the Ruskies without anybody there, and he's going to go tell them Ruskies what he wants. And this is going to happen. Then I'm going to go meet the Korean leader, too, and I'm going to call him a short, fat rocket dude. And I think, I love what this president's doing, but he's got no appeal. Like if Ronald Reagan did it, I'd have been beside myself with joy.
Locally, a 29-year-old woman is wanted in connection with a hit-and-run killing of a Port Orchard grandfather over the weekend. Police are looking for Ali Rochelle Giannini for questioning. There's a car that's registered to this woman that hit and killed the 61-year-old man. It's a 2016 Chevy Cruze, which was found abandoned near Tacoma. This woman is also wanted unrelated drug charges that include possession of meth, oxy, and others. They say she sometimes goes by the name Brittany.
Sounds like quite the catch.
Mom, this is Brittany.
Following the rescue of 5 children who nearly drowned Friday at Discovery Park, a statement has been released by the camp who were supposed to be watching these kids and said they are going to provide support to all parties affected and that they are going to be strengthening their water safety practices to prevent accidents in the future.
This sounds like somebody got hurt. Did somebody die?
No, nobody died. 4 boys and a girl, all aged between 10 and 11, were hospitalized after being rescued from the water. 3 of those 5 kids have now been released from the hospital. There were about 100 kids out at Discovery Park. These 5 kids went in too far too long and had to be hospitalized. They were rescued by a bystander. So
Wow. And they weren't they didn't fall out of a boat or something. They went. It's weird for that many kids to be drowning at the same time.
It's also weird for one guy to be able to rescue 5 children that are screaming about something.
yeah, and he did.
Wow.
It's funny, I was watching, I think it was Q13 this morning, talking about this heat wave that we're getting and have been having, and so many people are out on the water. And to go into Lake Washington, to go into Lake Union, great. The water temperature is gorgeous.
It is?
It is.
Because it seems like it's cold for me.
Yeah, I think
Surface
year
temperature
round,
is
I think it would
70.
be cold no matter how hot it is outside.
Yeah, surface temperature is 70, a little cooler if you were to dive down deep, but no,
Okay,
it's
that'll be happening. I'll be diving down deep.
Surface temperature is 70, and then a foot down from surface temperature is 42 degrees.
Right, if you're super thin, like Karen Carpenter thin, and you just lay on the top of that water,
Oh, yeah.
you're
You're
not
fine.
going to drown and freeze. You're going to probably get a sunburn on your belly.
But conversely,
Or on your butt, yeah.
the Puget Sound is 53 now, and it's 53 in the winter. So where these kids were, Discovery Park is on the Puget Sound. It's not on one of our bodies of water that is a 70-degree surface temperature.
But it's not a lake.
No, they were on
Right.
Puget Sound. So
Yeah.
Sounds like
Discovery
good-
Park is on the regular, everyday 53-degree water.
Well, I don't think we should put our 10-year-olds in
there
there.
you go.
Exactly.
Well, I might want to put a couple of 10
Case-by-case basis,
Totally.
I guess.
A mountain climber who called authorities threatening to commit suicide was saved on Friday.
Why?
Why was he saved?
Yeah.
Well,
Time, money, expense, danger to the rescuers. And this guy, his goal is to die, and I'll bet it wasn't.
I mean, his goal is
exactly.
to die, maybe, but their goal is to save people in crisis. That's their job. That's what, that's why we have
Oh, I
search and
stand
rescue.
by why, Paul. At first I thought, well, Paul's making perfect sense. No. Guy wants to, I'd rescue him when it was a lot easier. But in a place that was difficult to rescue, I'd go, well, all right, mister, you make your call.
Well, this was also, in a way, you could think of the positive as when somebody that, Danny, you would like to see rescued needs rescuing, they'll have people who have a really good experience because this was a crazy, daring rescue.
You think it was a practice run? They don't really care about the suicide guy. They just wanted to run a practice run, see if they could do it.
No, I know Danny doesn't care about suicide guys, so I'm trying to think of
I
the positive.
care. I just think, why go to all the trouble for a suicide guy on a mountain?
Yeah.
The Oregon Army National Guard lowered six rescuers onto the summit of Mount Hood with only the rear wheels touching and a plank being used to reach the climber. You then had to duck under the blades that are rotating around chest high.
Okay, I'm with Danny now. That seems way too difficult.
Okay, I'm backing off.
You got six guys you're sending up there? Send the one guy that
they
saved
didn't
the
send
5 kids from the lake.
Did you see it?
I did not. No.
Oh my God! You need to. You
You
need to
should
Google.
watch it, Paul. It's amazing.
They get to a point on the mountain where they decided it's okay, but the mountain goes straight up and down. They kind of back the helicopter in and land 2 wheels, keeping the front 2 wheels off in space. And it's a big Chinook. It's 40 feet from the rear wheels, and it just looks like it's crashing.
Yeah.
And the captain hovers there like that till they can get all those people in. It was one of the more amazing things I ever saw. And I couldn't get the captain's name because I wanted to get the captain's name, but the first officer or whatever, his first name is Ford. Is that good? And I said, am I missing this? I'm going to sound weird tomorrow on the radio when I tell this story, but nope, Ford is his name.
Wow.
One of the rescuers is named Joshua Cruz, and he described it as being very surreal. You just have to trust that the pilot knows what he's doing, that everyone's on the same page. The rescue took about 30 minutes at an altitude of 11,000 feet, and it ended with the Chinook helicopter flying the man to a nearby community. There, an ambulance drove.
Whose community? Just willy-nilly communities? Hey,
Nearest hospital.
we
I'd
can't
imagine.
stick around here in your nice community, Westchester. It's lovely here. By the way, suicidal maniac, we have to go.
The man's name and motive for suicide remains unknown, but officials say he had changed his mind about killing himself. He is diabetic, appeared to have spent the night on the mountain where it was 52 degrees. And one of the other rescuers, Phil Cole, is the one who led the mission on the ground and said this was super dangerous and we're very lucky.
Crazy. And then he said something didn't wreck it for me because I still had never seen anything like it before and doubt I will again. The captain, who couldn't get this guy's name, he said, I actually do this a lot. We drill for this.
Yeah.
How did you ever know something like that was going to happen?
An Air China flight from Hong Kong to the mainland city of Dalian had to make an emergency descent after the plane lost significant oxygen and cabin pressure due to pilot error. The co-pilot of the 737, carrying 153 passengers, 9 crew, 3-hour flight. This guy decided, I need to smoke an e-cigarette. Well, he, according to investigators, decided to smoke the e-cigarette. The smoke diffused into the passenger cabin, into the air conditioning components, which then shut off, which resulted in a descent of 20,000 feet.
Wow.
In under 9 minutes.
I think I may have seen this story on TV, yet they didn't have, unlike our Sarah, they didn't have the latest because there was no cigarette in their story that I saw. It's just people descending and oxygen masks falling out.
2 different stories, my friend.
There were 2 planes that dropped that significantly?
Yeah, this one was 20, the other one was 30. And they have no idea what caused the other one.
Jeez.
I'm going to go with that one then. That's the one I meant.
So yeah, 2 different stories over the weekend of massive descents. And as you can imagine, when you rapidly drop 20,000 feet, that doesn't feel so good.
No. Well, I've never done it except by jumping out of a plane, and it's a happy ending for me.
Yeah. Well, even if you've been on a plane and it has that massive turbulence and if you're wearing your seatbelt, you feel it tugging you back down.
Yeah.
Imagine that for 9 minutes, faster and more dramatic. They say everybody gets sick, everybody feels awful. In this case, they now realize it's because the guy was vaping.
How does he not know that, like as a pilot, that he's got to go back to the bathroom to veil?
I'm so glad that you asked that because I thought I must have missed this. Don't say anything. You'll look like you don't pay attention. It was, in fact, the pilot.
Right, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Co-pilot. And as you can imagine, he's in trouble.
I'll bet.
Another pretty crazy story of rescue and endurance. Rip currents fueled by Hurricane Chris this past week, prompted hundreds of rescues all along the East Coast, including one teenager who was in the ocean for 8 hours treading water.
I was just going to say in a boat, right?
No.
Treading water.
Isn't that unbelievable?
It's
hours
it's
in the water.
Semi-unbelievable. I
Yeah.
mean, it's what that's one of the things they make you do to be in the special forces, and it ain't 8 hours.
Yeah, maybe this kid has a new career ahead of him because that just seems like something most people could not ever do.
There's an episode of Magnum P.I., which in the last years of the show got very spiritual, a lot of ghosts and weird stuff like that. And the thing was, he fell overboard of a big boat and had to tread water and kept hearing the voice of his father saying, "You can do this, hang on, blah, blah, blah," whatever he said to a young Magnum P.I. And I think that whole thing was 4 hours and he was in the water.
Well, in this case, the kid said he went for a walk and then never came back. Mom said, "Pray for my son. I have no idea where my son is." It turns out it was just this rip current. So he was walking through the water, wading along. All of a sudden, it pulls him out to sea. 8 hours later, he was rescued. And he says, worst vacation ever, but maybe the most exciting. He is now okay. The Coast Guard was able to rescue him.
He's not okay. That kid's going to be scarred for life, right?
You think? Or I think you might brag.
I mean, I think he might brag to get over the fact that he's terrified. He's not going in the water again for sure.
How old is this kid?
They didn't reveal his age, but he's a teenager.
Okay. The kids are resilient. Of course he'll go in the water again.
Well, and I definitely think it's a matter of kids, like teenagers, having this resiliency. And he seemed like a good sport, like best and worst vacation ever. That's a direct quote. Arizona authorities say a 44-year-old uniformed security guard is accused of impersonating a police officer and trying to pull over an unmarked car over the weekend. Matthew Disbro of Mesa.
No way. His name is 2 slang words at once?
Yep, it is.
His middle name is Sup, man.
He was driving his personal black Charger. He activated law enforcement-style emergency lights that he had put into his car, tried to pull over a yellow Ford Mustang. Well, the troopers weren't about to pull over. They're like, who the heck is this guy? He then drove up to them, yelled, and said, "Pull over." That's when they turned on their own lights, and he said, "Oh, shoot." So he then pulled over, and he's in trouble.
Okay, I was going to... Because, immediately.
Yeah, I would.
I would, and I'd arrest that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just tried to pull over the wrong car.
When I was a security guard, I flashed my badge more than once.
Yeah.
And on, I was going to say both, but maybe on more occasions, people kind of laughed at me.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It looked like exactly like it, but there's no difference. They couldn't tell the difference. It was the fact, I think, that I was driving a 1971 Pinto and looking like the stoned version of the guy from TV.
Y'all know one of the most famous cartoons of all time from the olden days.
Yeah.
But it features a roadrunner, right?
Yeah.
You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You're being weird. Why? Yes.
Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote.
Wile E. Coyote.
Correct. Turns out over the weekend, a roadrunner and a Wile E. Coyote had a showdown in the middle of the streets of Tucson. Somebody saw this and decided to film it because it was Looney Tunes in real life. The bird jumps down for a tree, but then comes face to face with a coyote. They stare each other down at a distance. They walk towards each other, and then the bird flies away.
Right before the anvil falls from the sky, right?
Yes. Okay, that part didn't happen.
In this crazy fight, did they fight?
They wound up not fighting, but we know
Roadrunner runs away. That's what happens, right? Every time.
And it's gone.
He's too quick.
That's exactly what happened.
And then I think whoever said the anvil falls on his head, that's fairly accurate information.
A video is up now on our Facebook page, but it's just one of those uncanny, like that really just happened.
Yeah.
And I don't know that the Roadrunners are that fast.
No, I've never.
They're certainly
raced
not
one.
tall.
No,
they
no,
make
they're
them
small
tall, like they're
birds.
the same size as the coyote.
They're not. No.
And by the way, the coyote only walks on his hind legs, so he's 8 feet tall? Who knows?
In Scotland, a decapitated corpse was found in a public park and has been revealed.
Is he going to be all right?
I'm guessing no.
No.
They say it's the body of a Lithuanian man who disappeared a year ago, and that the circumstances around his death are not suspicious.
I'm
Are not
suspicious of it.
suspicious?
They do not believe there are suspicious circumstances surrounding his death.
I'm suspicious that he happens to be Lithuanian.
Yeah.
You know, everything from that is even weirder.
Oh, this is like here locally in Washington, up in BC. But they keep finding feet.
Right.
Like just a single foot will wash ashore.
And
I don't know,
also-
every 2 months or so, and they go, we
Nah.
don't suspect foul play, nothing suspicious.
Which I am also skeptical of.
Yeah.
More so, I think in this case, I find a decapitated body to be nothing but suspicious.
Yeah, I'd
Sure.
always say look into that.
Well, not in Scotland. Like, meh. I think it's
In
okay.
Scotland?
In Scotland, meh, it's not
I
suspicious.
don't know why that got weirder for me. I think it's
Scotland
weird.
Yard should be.
It
looking
seems
into
very
it.
Scotland Yard, not in Scotland.
No, I know.
It's all very weird.
This is true. A terminally ill man's dying wish of spending his last days enjoying his favorite beverage have finally come true. Don Cheney had moved to Abilene, Texas to spend his remaining days with his family. And they said, could you guys go get my favorite drink? Cherry-flavored 7-Up. Turns out they don't sell that in Abilene, Texas. A local supermarket said they're not allowed to sell the soda, that it would be illegally bringing it in because it's not something they're allowed to sell. So the manager of the store reached out to 7-Up, who said they'll be sending him soda every week for the remainder of his days.
What bad luck.
twice.
Like, one, this guy's dying, but two, he lives in a place where his favorite soda has
Yeah.
been banned. Like, I've never heard of a town who's banned Cherry 7-Up.
No,
but-
there's that town that banned dancing.
Yeah, right.
Thank God Kevin and I came along.
Well, sad story, but kind of with a happy ending.
Not for him.
No, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, people do die, though.
Yeah,
so
sure.
mostly that's... here's where I think... I don't want to call the guy a jerk.
It feels
watch
like
me.
It sounds like you do want to call him a jerk.
Well, no. But if... so you get cancer.
Yeah, for
Paul.
the second time this morning.
Right. You're getting it again.
Yeah, okay.
This time it looks like you might die.
Yeah.
You call me up, you come over, and I get you Cherry 7-Up.
Yeah, or a yoo-hoo.
Why are you doing that to me?
Why am I
gonna-
involving you in
Why
my
are you going to
beverage?
die in my house? Why are you going to make me do everything you need done? Change your hat, or I was going to say underwear, but I don't know if there's a cancer problem with that. But whatever it is, it just seems like kind of a nasty thing to move in with the people that have been the kindest to you when you're going to be the most difficult to be around.
Yeah.
But your big demand is wanting Cherry 7-Up.
Right, but they do other things. Poor people are sick. My sister's sick. You know, I don't need her moving into my house.
Yeah,
Well, you're a
that's
terrible person.
more so you're saying it's not bad that he asked for a soda. It's bad that he wanted
Wants
to be
to
around
die in
loved
your
ones
house.
at all. Yeah.
Yes, then he wants to die in your house, my house, whatever. It's an inconvenience at the very least.
Yeah, he should be alone someplace far away from me.
on
so I
top of
don't have
Mount
to watch
Hood.
It's time for today's Things Are Not Right in Florida story of the day.
Yay!
Nobody likes to lose their job. You know, you jobs are important. You earn money. You like your job. Well, Paul's shaking his head.
Paul's
no.
a big liar, tough guy. He loves this job. Wouldn't know what to do with himself if he didn't have it.
Hector Bermudez was
Oh, I wear his shorts.
went to work, his job at Walmart, and they said, "You have been suspended. What are you doing here?" He said, "I'm here to work." And they said, "Sorry, you have been suspended. We told you not to come to work for a week." And he just put on that little blue apron and tried to go to work. And when they said, "You need to leave the store," that's when he went crazy pants and caused thousands of dollars worth of damage. He did not want to leave his job at Walmart.
You know, except that you had a lighthearted tone about you when you first started, I would think this is going to end up in a shooting. That's how this story is going to go. But so the guy dressed up in his blue apron and said, "Here I am." That's, you know, because you want to say, well, Well, kind of good on him, man. Get the position that he's for sure suspend, whatever it is. You can see that guy is going to twist on you a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully he didn't. He just went to his car and cried, and that's where he was arrested.
Well, he cost thousands of dollars in
Yes.
damage.
Yeah.
Oh, Florida.
Oh, Florida.
News brought to you by Johnson RV. We've got so much more to come. An acting legend releasing an album. Only it was an album he made while in high school.
Can't wait to hear your music,
Yeah,
Danny.
that's what I was thinking. Although high school's not as long ago as.
We have got the audio. Music expert Tori will be playing that for us. The roast of Bruce Willis, the good. No, really, it's just the bad and the ugly. Wait till you hear some of these jokes and a whole lot going on in the wide world of sports next. Over the weekend, we got some interesting news from Ben Stiller.
That's
Now-
almost impossible.
Yeah, right.
Well, when you think of Ben Stiller, what do you normally think of?
His mother and father for me.
Well, Paul, what would you think of?
I think stupid movies. Really, really stupid movies.
Meet the Fockers.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And that's like one of the best of all of the stupid movies he does.
I think he did the Brady Bunch. He did something about Mary. I mean, he's
He
done
did
it.
the Brady Bunch?
Pretty sure he was in Brady Bunch, or was that just his wife?
What's that one where he's like a model?
Zoolander.
Zoolander. Yeah,
Which is
terrible.
Big
movie.
enough movie to make two. It's terrible.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's the
Best
worst ever.
People
films
think
ever.
because they made a sequel, it must have been good. Oh, no. I've stepped in poop twice. All right, cool.
Well, it turns out when Ben Stiller was a teenager, he was in a band. This is a band called Capital Punishment.
Little tough guy, Ben Stiller.
He and his friends released an album back in 1982, and now the record label that put this out has decided to reissue it. Now, Tori, you have this to play for us, right?
I do.
All right, let's hear it.
I know me in the dentist's office, in the doctor's waiting room, in the aisles of the grocery store at your local A&P.
It's like a music version of his movies.
Well,
Terrible.
It's. I don't think it's that terrible. I think it's terrible in 2018.
It sounds
This
like
is
the
way
80s.
songs sounded for a while.
I mean, I'll give him this. It's not unskilled. Like,
Right.
it's not terrible in that it's not, like, there's decent musicianship, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know that they're actually playing anything.
I would
can't
never
tell.
listen to this. Like,
No.
I love it. I think
Really?
it's like the New York Dolls meets T-Rex meets the Muppets.
Okay, with that description, my wife is going to be finding this right away.
Yeah.
Those are all her favorite bands except maybe the Muppets, which she only likes.
I think it's a little heavy on the Muppets.
That was a very good
it
assessment
really was.
from our music
Thank
expert,
you.
Tori.
I'm trying to. I just brought up that song, New York, London, Paris, Munich. Everybody talking about pop music, the
Yeah.
especially. That's what they were doing back then. I think they did a successful job. They should have discovered it, 20 years ago and not last night.
So Ben Stiller was in this band alongside somebody named Chris Roebling, whose ancestors built the Brooklyn Bridge, a guy named Peter Zusi, who is a professor of Slavic studies,
Of course he is.
Peter Swan, who is a Supreme Court justice for Arizona, and then Ben Stiller, who makes bad movies.
Right. But out of all of them, I think Ben's making the best buck.
Yeah.
He is, but he's not a Supreme Court justice.
That's true. If he was, he'd rule against his movies.
If you would like to get Capital Punishment's album from
And really, who
1982,
wouldn't?
Yeah.
it's coming out September 14th.
So is Ben Stiller begging for death and, oh my God, what do I do? Or does he go, yeah, that's the way we said. That was my band.
Yeah, he's all for it.
He's all
He
for
was,
it.
he was the drummer.
He was the drummer. I wouldn't have
Yeah.
guessed.
Congratulations to bouncy model Kate Upton, who is pregnant with her first child with superstar pitcher Justin Verlander. He's a pitcher for the Houston Astros, and they made the announcement over the weekend. Congratulations to them.
I got to tell you, although she's pregnant, is that right? Mm-hmm. All right, so maybe that gives you another avenue to go, because if you're not pregnant and you're the bouncy supermodel that's been on the cover of Sports Illustrated and he's the fastball pitcher of 99 miles an hour, you got to be thinking constantly when you look at the other guy, what are we going to do when you're 40? You know, well, you know, is this lady, bouncing lady, worth sitting around the house with constantly when she's not doing it anymore? And is this baseball pitcher not going to be sitting around the house in his underwear? Will that work out for me? That's what I would think. And then I think yes, because you're rich.
Yeah. She's 26. He's in his mid to late 30s. He's 6'4", and she's Kate Upton.
Right.
So I think they're going to be okay, rolling around in their piles of cash.
Yeah.
Call me back in a decade.
I think it's going to be a while before he gets tired of her, for sure.
Nope,
Be
there's
nice.
no way that this sounds that. No, I'm not talking about my lovely wife in any way. But I've gotten tired of super hot chicks pretty fast.
Yeah.
Cindy Jones, although she was terrible, I don't think that this Upton person is a terrible
Yeah,
person.
plus they're married. They clearly love each other.
Yeah, they seem like a great
I've
couple.
married tons of people I didn't love.
Scarlett Johansson over the weekend withdrew from the film Rub and Tug after her plans to portray a transgender man prompted backlash. To a statement, she said she is pulling out in light of recent ethical questions raised surrounding my casting. So she was supposed to be playing a guy born a girl who identifies as a man. So somebody born with the name Lois, he felt like he was a man, so he became Tex. And the transgender community said, this is a terrible casting. Why would you do that? So much backlash. She said, forget about it. I'm not doing this movie anymore.
Well, and I'm thinking off the top of my head, so if this isn't the best example, don't jump down my throat. But a couple of times that I am aware of, they've hired blind actors to play blind people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
For the most part, it's been disastrous. It triples your time. It triples your expense. It's a big deal. Then you get a sighted guy to throw a pair of glasses on him and a stick, and all of a sudden you're going, hey, it's just all I'm saying is sometimes hiring the person that actually is black, Chinese, short, tall, whatever it is, or just hiring a really good actor and fixing the rest. You can hire the really good actor. I don't think she's just out of work now. I mean, she's
Right.
not, and she has no problems.
She's gonna be all right.
She's just out of work though. Somebody caused her to get fired, essentially lose her job.
Yeah, but 99% of the time, the actor is portraying a person that they are not, right? Sometimes you play
Right.
yourself.
Almost 100% of the time.
But most times,
Right.
you're playing the part of
exactly
the person
right,
that
Paul.
you are not. If you're an actor
And now-
and you can play that part.
Again, you have to forget she's a bazillionaire and gorgeous and not care about her feelings. Because if you do care about her feelings, man, she was just forced out of an acting. That might have been a great part. She might have begged for that part.
And experts have said there are a lot of cisgender actors who have won acclaim for playing transgender characters like Jeffrey Tambor, Jared Leto, Felicity Huffman.
Right.
What's her face who played the blonde chick who played Andy Warhol? That's a chick playing Andy Warhol, who's
Yeah.
a man. So they said, what's the big deal? It happens all the time.
Yeah.
But she said just too much backlash, not worth it for her. Just moving on.
I get her making that decision because, if people are that upset, why does she want to follow the part? Maybe she's got other opportunities that are less controversial and she can move on to. But I don't fully understand the backlash.
No, me either.
Well, speaking of backlash, there was a lot of that for Billy Bush when that infamous Access Hollywood tape came forward in which President Trump bragged about groping women. He lost his job, had some difficulties with his wife, so much so that she has now filed for divorce.
That's difficulties.
Yep.
And I felt on that one. I don't always want to be on the wrong side of history here, but what the hell? Yeah, he's still a fairly young guy, and I don't know how much he said. He goaded another stupid teenage man into saying things that he could have possibly suspected are going to come out of this guy's mouth. Hey, you can grab by the who's-its because they'll love it because you're famous. Like, Billy Bush was going, what are you saying? There's microphones.
Yeah.
But I don't. It just seemed like a lot of uproar.
He lost his job and is getting a divorce, and the other guy became president.
Right.
Yeah, it is a little lopsided.
Oh, the roast of Bruce Willis took place over the weekend. He knew a lot of the people who were going to be there. What's his butt? Ross is always there.
Jeffrey Ross.
Jeffrey Ross is always there.
Roast Master General.
Sybil Shepherd, he knew was going to be there.
Oh, man. See, that's a weird one.
Well, because they started in the show together.
Remember, I was mentioning that show just the other day. I think it's Moonlighting.
Yes.
Yeah.
They hated each other.
Correct.
And she's a crazy person, by the way. I did her talk show, her ill-fated talk show, And in mid-sentence, I'm being interviewed, and then she looks right over my shoulder and she goes, "Red?" And I couldn't tell what was happening. There was a couple more conversations, and it turned out the lady over my shoulder in the audience was wearing red, and she wouldn't do the show. And the lady had to go change or leave. I don't remember what happened.
Well, it turns out he was not prepared for the surprise guest of the evening, his ex-wife, Demi Moore. Bruce Willis was roasted by his ex-wife. She had a couple of lines like, "I look at our marriage like The Sixth Sense. You were dead the whole time." I was married to Bruce Willis for the first 3 Die Hard movies, which makes sense because the last 2 sucked. Bruce considered the end of our marriage his biggest Hollywood failure. "Bruce, don't be so hard on yourself. You had bigger failures. Planet Hollywood, Hudson Hawk, campaigning for Michael Dukakis, turning down George Clooney's role in Ocean's 11 to focus on playing the harmonica."
Remember about the harmonica?
They were married for a long time, 87 to 2000, have 3 kids, Rumor, Tallulah, and Scout, all of them there laughing in the audience. Jeffrey Ross said, "I met Rumor. I guess that's the name you give your kid when you're not 100% sure who the dad is."
Wow.
Yeah, if I were Tamron, I'd be careful around Bruce Willis.
Sybil Shepherd, who co-starred with him in his breakout role Moonlighting, also took her shots. Hollywood wouldn't be Hollywood if they didn't reward a man for aging into mediocrity.
Although you
So
got to
many
go, if
jokes.
I'm Bruce Willis,
Yeah.
I've aged into, what is he, 63 years old or something like
Sounds
that?
about
And he's
right.
making $20 million a picture. Almost nobody else does that.
Yeah.
Well, the reason we're not playing the actual audio is because it did not air yet. Those are just the jokes that leaked out. The show will air July 29th on Comedy Central.
So Demi Moore didn't do a bunch of whatever that guy's name is jokes. Who'd she marry?
Ashton Kutcher.
Ashton Kutcher. Yeah,
There were a couple directed at her. She did not do them.
Yeah.
wow, they were directed at her.
Because he divorced her and is married to Mila
Mila Kunis.
Kunis.
How did he not expect Demi Moore to be there? Like, that's
Yeah.
the first person I would think is going to be there.
Plus, they're friends, from what I
Yeah.
understand, and I've heard they have kids together. Or at least that's the rumor.
I think the joke was something like, sorry, the father of the Demi's 3 kids couldn't be here, Ashton Kutcher.
He's being babysat.
No, because he spent more time with those kids than Bruce Willis did.
No, I was
as
just
they
wondering what the
divorced.
joke was. Sorry, Ashton couldn't be here, but we couldn't find a sitter.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Netflix's Queer Eye has been renewed for a 3rd season, and we'll see the makeover show move out of Hotlanta into new territories. They said the 3rd season will be 8 episodes based in Kansas City, Missouri. So Queer Eye going to Kansas City.
I'd be so nervous. Flamboyantly gay character in Missouri.
Yeah. Let's take a look at sports. Sports brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY. It was a rough weekend for your Seattle Mariners. The Rockies beat them 10-7 Friday.
No!
4-1 Saturday. Trevor Story, man, of all times to get your career back on the right track, he hit a walk-off home run, beating the Mariners 4-3 yesterday. A sweep by the Colorado Rockies. Well, they're getting a break, which is good.
Yeah.
Off of a sweep, get a little bit of a break. It's
Rest
also
up, turn it around.
yeah. It's also good because James Paxton was placed on the 10-day DL with a back strain. So the All-Star Game, the festivities get underway. Derek, we've got the Home Run Derby tonight.
That's right, tonight at 5 p.m. on ESPN.
And do we have anyone? It's usually Robinson Cano.
We do not have anyone participating this year.
No, I don't care then.
Well, tomorrow is the All-Star Game, which we know we do have several people participating.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
do.
4 players.
Four
four
players. Count them. 4. We don't really need to count them. I'll just tell you there's 4.
Why do you tell me earlier?
5 o'clock start time for the All-Star Game tomorrow. The Storm defeated the Dallas Wings on Saturday. Next for them, a game Wednesday, 9 a.m. tip-off against the Chicago Sky.
Go Tips.
The Sounders, they held off Atlanta United, 1-1 draw up next Saturday, 1 p.m. match time with the Vancouver Whitecaps. There was a little soccer match yesterday.
So I heard.
Yeah.
It turned out to be a bit of a blowout with France beating Croatia 4-2. It was dramatic because it was close at first, There was a penalty kick. Oh, and then there was a whole bunch of people who rushed onto the pitch to disrupt the match in the 52nd minute.
Idiots.
Well, idiots, yes, but punk rock group Pussy Riot are claiming responsibility,
Really?
saying it was a protest aimed at ending illegal arrests of protesters.
You know, they were. I rewound my TV 3 or 4 times to get what they were saying. It sounded 4 punks were and like I thought you're judging the protesters right in the news story. That's kind of weird. So, it was the punk rock band Pussy Riot.
Oh, yes,
All
I
right,
see what you're
got it.
saying.
Yeah.
Punks.
I thought the guy was calling them names, but wouldn't get to the real story.
Oh, that's funny.
They should have had better signage when they ran down on the field because they just looked like idiots.
Yeah, and why were they dressed like that?
I didn't really see because a lot of times they pan away from it because they don't want you to see it. So I didn't really see. There was no message that you could see. Yeah, it didn't. It just looked like idiots rushing the field, like idiots do every now and again.
But they were wearing
Sure,
like
they do.
tarp or something, weren't they?
The picture I saw, they were wearing like Mormon outfits when they go knock on your door and say, "Have you heard the good word?"
That can be construed as tarps.
White, black pants, white shirt with a little skinny black tie.
Oh, you know what? When they maybe carted away and wrapped up
Yeah.
or something?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
that's
yes.
what I saw.
Okay.
Outside of that, the match was good. The first half was really tight, like you said. It was close, and Croatia, hung in there better than I thought they were going to. And then in the second half, it just opened up.
Yeah.
And France is just so good and so fast.
Well, I watched the first half and then I had to go to Car Pros renting Kia. I had to go see my buddy David. But Danny, I did something that's going to make you very envious.
You
Green.
slept with another disc jockey.
You're going to be green with envy.
All right.
I went to Sonic.
Oh, yeah, I'm green with
Oh.
envy. Absolutely. No, I'm not. No, I'm not even a little bit. I'll look at you and I'll tell you, Paul.
Yeah.
She's a vegetarian.
Oh, so
Don't
there's
care
nothing
what
she can
did.
enjoy. She can get a
Nah, there's
slushie.
The drinks.
The drinks
there's
are pretty
the
great.
Pickle slushie.
I
Now
had
you
the
hate her.
pickle slash.
And
It was awesome.
that sounds like it might be awesome.
I was super surprised. So this is a brand new Sonic that opened right across the street from Car Pros, and the entire time I was there, I was kind of obnoxious. Like, when can I go to get my slushie? When can I go? Is it open yet? Is it open yet? So I was with Kara, who works here.
How many
and
cars have you bought from them?
2.
My answer is anytime you feel like it, you can walk. We'll wait right here. We'll polish your chair. We love you here at Car Pros.
So I was with Kara, and it took us like 15 minutes to figure out how to get there because there were cops, there were cones.
You would
there
think
was-
one of those guys would be telling you how to get there.
Yeah, you would.
Directing
we
traffic.
had to ask the cop, how do we get into Sonic?
Hmm.
And there were cones and security guards.
I was one time blocked by Andy Cohn, which I thought was weird. Get out of my way, Andy.
They said that, this is all set up because there's going to be so many people later, like Chick-fil-A,
Oh, yeah.
lines down the block, so to speak. Dude, pickle slushy,
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Well, as we've said, the reason this is pointed out, hey, Danny, will be just I drive 100 miles round trip 5 times a year minimum,
Yeah.
if not more, to go to Sonic.
Well, now you don't have to. That
now I can
one
drive
in
40
Renton
miles.
has to be the closest. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's close to like 50, isn't it? Round trip?
I
40.
bet. Yeah, I bet you're looking at 15, maybe 20 miles. Yeah.
There.
There. Yeah.
So back is 40.
Yeah.
Okay. Bummer.
Yeah, like 30.
I'll totally do
30,
it.
35
I'll do
miles.
it more often.
Yeah. You should.
Try the pickle slushy while it lasts.
I will.
Delicious.
I'm going to get the word Sonic tattooed on something of mine.
After 7 years in the NFL, DeMarco Murray has decided to hang it up at age 30. The 3-time Pro Bowler has decided to retire. And over the weekend, in addition to the big soccer match, there was a big boxing match. Manny Pacquiao won by knockout for the first time in 9 years to claim the World Boxing Association welterweight title.
Wow. He shouldn't even fight anymore, to be honest with you. I'm shocked.
he's an old man?
And he's an old man. He's an old man. He takes a beating, that guy, before, that fight is over. No matter what, you can count that Manny Pacquiao is going to get punched in the face 100 times. So God love him, but I thought he should quit.
He is 39, and he said,
This is it. I am back in boxing. I have won.
Is that what he said?
yeah.
It's not terrible.
not bad.
Well, you know what bothers me about that? Well, if I can do it and Sarah can do it, kind of anybody can do the Manny Pacquiao.
But I mean, you do it, Danny. You do it spot on.
We have to get a dance then to the Manny Pacquiao dance.
Okay.
All right. And, okay.
It'll be like the Icky Shuffle.
I think I won that fight. I talked to the coach. I talked to the ref. I talked to the other guy. I know I was on my back, but I won that fight.
Do you like my dance moves?
Thank you very much.
Oh, okay, thanks. Wimbledon over the weekend, Angelique Kerber won her first Wimbledon championship by beating Serena Williams.
Who cried?
She did. She said this was for moms everywhere. This is 10 months after a very difficult childbirth. Good for her for making it that far.
You know what? Don't do it. 10 months after you had a baby, it's one thing to, should you play tennis? Well, of course you should play tennis. It's actually good for you to go play tennis. Should I play you play in a championship game against one of the best players in the world and run around? I don't think that's the best thing for you. I know I'm not a doctor, but what do they know?
Well, I mean, she almost died while giving birth, so I was surprised that she got back so quickly, but she made it to the Wimbledon finals, her first outing, so good for her. Novak Djokovic was able to beat Kevin Anderson in Sunday's final, so he is the winner of the men's Wimbledon. And that's a look at your sports. It's brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys at 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
And that's a number that you should call if the unfortunate happens and you get a DUI. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. Those lawyers, they will fight hard for you, and you need that. And they will meet you in Seattle, Everett, or Tacoma, free of charge. So if the unfortunate does happen to you and get yourself a DUI, don't delay. Call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY.
It's Monday.
I know what that means.
We've got a new game from the evil mind of Paul the Butcher.
Yeah.
This brand new game, we will play at 7:20, and the prize, tickets to Rob Schneider next Saturday night at the Skagit Valley Casino Resort.
We say this line around here a lot of times. Ooh, it's a fine line. Well, now the fine line can win you stuff. Play It's a Fine Line at 7:20, and you can end up going to see Rob Schneider. So dig that.
There's a new study out where experts say it's actually good to have a rival because it can help motivate you.
Yeah, I would have thought that, to be honest with you. My problem with that is if somebody's my actual rival, I want to do them physical harm. I don't often think of somebody as my rival that I don't want immediately deaden. So especially when it's for a girl. It's your rival for a girl, and she likes him better.
Yeah.
And she said, "Guess who's bigger? He is." But somebody's got to die.
I was thinking about this. Danny, you've talked before about going in for an audition,
Right?
and you go into the waiting room and you look around and you see other people who are your competition.
You know them. You kind of like some of them. Like, here's the weirdest part with actors. They're all dressed alike. It says, 50s biker is who you're going to play. So everybody's wearing a leather jacket and skin-tight jeans. It's so embarrassing for everyone.
Yeah, I remember going in to do a voice audition for The Incredible Edible Egg. And I go in there and I see one of the leads of the TV show Lost.
Right.
And I just knew right away, I'm not getting this role.
Everybody thought that with me when I would audition for voice work specifically, and I very rarely got them. They'd go, "Oh, man, that guy from the radio, how are we going to," and this when I lived in New York. And I lost a lot. Did she end up getting it?
It was a he.
Did
and
he
he wound up getting it, yes, over me. And I did not make millions telling you that the egg is incredible.
I had a rival in radio. Now, everybody is your rival in radio, in my opinion. We're up here with 10 radio stations that we own. I don't wish anything good to happen to any of them, to be honest with you. But a real rival that pushes you to do better, Mancow in Chicago. It's this big radio, huge, multi-million-dollar deals and stuff. And he just did swamp radio and made fun of in order to throw you off your game, he'd go after your kids on the air. Yeah, it was really, really weird.
Well, they do say it can be good, right?
Oh, that was good.
If you're in the workplace and it's you and call on all sorts of clients and getting all sorts of stuff for your job, then maybe it would motivate you to be better because Steve is your rival.
I told the kids the other day when they had to be out till midnight on a school night, I said, it's a good thing. Here's how I got to where I am. Work everybody else to death. So I consider everybody on the radio my rival.
Even little Derek and Tori?
Oh, I want nothing good for them.
Well, you guys listening, have you ever had a personal or professional rival? Tell us your story. Call 800-252-1025 or text in 90627.
Experts are saying, and I most certainly agree, that sometimes it's good to have a rival. Have you ever had a personal or professional rival? 1-800-252-1025, or you can text at 90627.
Let's start by talking to Ryan in Seattle.
Hey, Ryan.
Hey, good morning. I've always wanted to say this, you people.
Hey, what do you mean, you people? All right, gotta help you out.
So in high school, there was another kid named Ryan that we kind of battled back and forth for a spot on the the varsity wrestling team.
Yeah.
And he was a little bit better than me. He would beat me most of the time, and so I was stuck on JV for a couple of years. And then came to school one day, and he had died the night before on a motorcycle accident, so I ended up taking his spot.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow. So I was thinking and hearing, I'd practice and I'd train and I'd walk around with, weights connected to my face or whatever. Dude, I didn't think the guy died in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, he got the better of his rival by killing him.
Well,
he didn't kill him. The motorcycle killed him.
Right. He didn't. Yeah. But here's what you do about it. This is probably like your situation with Chris Pratt, right?
Yeah, this sounds exactly how I would have liked my story to have gone.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't expecting to go that.
That was terrible, man.
But and with that rivalry, I mean, obviously that's my biggest rivalry is me and Chris Pratt. And some people would maybe even say that I lost that rivalry. But I'm sitting here with you guys this morning, and he's off filming a blockbuster movie. Or
Divorced, alone,
divorced,
sad, counting his money in some room, crying.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm the big winner there.
Yeah, that's the way I look at you.
800-252-1025. Have you ever had a personal or professional rival? That's the question we're asking. Good morning to Mike and Sultan.
Hey, Mike.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Sticky Sexy Bonaduce.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you for asking. What do you got?
No, you're not.
My personal rival right now is Yo and Olympia, because anytime I call in, I want to be better and funnier than her, and I'll even take my pants off if I have to also.
Well, I was going to say that you don't stand a chance until you offered to take your pants off. Now, as a heterosexual male, I'm not as interested nearly as I am in Yo with their pants off.
Yeah.
But I got to kind of discount my preferences. It's still a guy who listens to this show willing to take his pants off.
Yep.
I got to love me some Mike.
And I think that your wife who's listening would probably like it better if you said you were more interested in Mike. I don't know, but
and I am. Okay. He calls me Stinky Dan and Yabaducci. I love everything this guy does.
Have you ever had a personal or professional rival? We'd love to hear your story. Call 800-252-1025. Paul in Buckley, hello.
Hey, Paul.
Hey, good morning, guys.
What's that?
Well, Danny, back in the old racing days, the whole field was a rival, and I can remember in one of my championship rides going through the setup and checking everybody out as you go up to your position before the race starts.
Right.
And you just kind of take your time and stare everybody down. That was part of the program.
Yeah, I did a little stock car racing against other disc jockeys, then against other television guys. So it wasn't like real, but on the other hand, it was a real car and you didn't own it. Yeah. You weren't responsible for the way it came back. And, when we were all getting ready to go, maybe I'm just too overly competitive. I wanted nothing good to happen to those guys. I want you all to crash.
It was all for charity and you didn't care.
I was for charity. I don't care. There's still got to be a winner and a loser.
James in Bothell, have you ever had a personal or professional rival?
Good morning, everybody.
Hey, James.
Well, we've all heard of sibling rivalry.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, well, in 1958 when I was born, I was the youngest of four boys, and I was the pride and joy. In 1964, my sister was born.
No.
No longer the youngest, no longer the pride and joy.
Yep.
Well, who did that to their siblings would have to be me.
Yeah.
And it broke some of them worse than others, but it broke their hearts because it went from, I'm the eldest. Oh, no, now I'm the new oldest. Well, I'm the new. Well, he's the baby. Oh, he's got a job that pays more than dad. Yeah, it was not that big of a thrill for anybody.
It's tough, too, with girls because it was the same for me. Two older brothers, and then the little baby girl comes along, and they forget about the two older boys. That's tough for the elder siblings. Let's talk to Andrew in Puyallup.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey, good morning, you beautiful people.
How are you, buddy?
What's up, man?
Not much. When I was in high school, and even prior to that, I was doing competitive martial arts, and me and this kid ended up in the final in every tournament I ever competed in.
And did your coach
and
say
either he would win or I would win?
All right. I was being obnoxious. I was making a Karate Kid reference in the middle of this hard-earned story. All right, so every day you would end up against this kid at the finals, and then what happens?
Either he won or I won. It was just back and forth all the time.
And then did he die in a motorcycle accident? Any chance?
Now, you know, when I go to the gym, I have rivals, but they're all in my head, that if someone is on the treadmill next to me, I have to stay on the treadmill longer than them. I just I can't be the one who ends first.
Even if they just got on, like you're about to get off and somebody gets on
Doesn't
next
matter.
to you.
Yeah,
you
I
go,
have to stay
oh,
on longer than them.
I can't give up.
That's the thing.
More often than not, it's if you're both getting on at the same time, no way. I'll run for 2 miles. 2 hours. I have to be on there longer than them.
Jeez Louise.
Because I'm crazy.
When I was competing in karate tournaments, there was this guy, Johnny Gyro. Obviously not his real last name, but he'd get you with what's called a spinning back kick almost every time.
Oh, yeah.
And I would say before I met Johnny, if a guy hits you with a spinning back kick, it says you're an idiot. It's his back leg. He's got to spin around. He's got to bring it up the ground and kick you. This guy'd get you with it every time. And I thought of that guy as my rival. And one day he went up to jump and twist. It's a big deal. And came down, and I could tell he'd hurt himself somehow. And I kicked him in the face anyway.
Oh.
He still teaches karate in the Valley to this day.
He can't see straight, but
He's still, he doesn't look the same.
Bill in DuPont, have you ever had a personal or professional rival?
Yes, I have.
Really?
Two of them, actually.
Who
Two
are
of them,
they?
actually.
Who are they?
Peter Gabriel and Eddie Vedder.
Really? I, for one, can't imagine why.
I'm so surprised. Bill, tell us why they're your rivals.
I don't know, really. I mean, they're both one-hit wonders, right? And
That's not going to help you, Bill.
as opposed to Bill and all the hits that he's had.
That was amazing.
That was very,
Thanks, Bill.
Good morning to Yo in Olympia.
Yo!
What up, Debo?
What's happening, darling?
Well, I'm not wearing pants.
I know. Me either.
She never is.
Well, apparently my rival is my consultant.
Yeah.
When I actually thought it was Bill in Lakewood.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I think what you guys should do is make a competition, a listener off. So
Listener off?
Compete.
It's one.
I don't completely
win.
understand.
Yeah, what
I
are you
don't get a
competing
listener off.
for?
You don't? I bet you'd like to. You'd like to get it. Right?
I would.
I wonder how does the competition work? Yo, you'll have to work on that and get back to us. How is the battle of the callers going to go? Whoever
think
can
I
take
know.
their pants off fast
Who's
enough.
the most naked in this room?
Yeah, that's
All
definitely what it's
And
got to
sometimes I win that one.
Paul, how about you?
Well, that Chris Pratt, my biggest rival, but maybe my earliest rival was little Timmy across the street. From where I grew up, when I was a kid, there was this little boy Timmy who lived across the street, and he was like 2 years younger than me, and he got all my stuff. You know, my parents would give his parents clothes that didn't fit me anymore, or toys that they thought I didn't play with anymore, even though they might have been my favorite toy or my favorite shirt.
They're starting to sound a lot like Sarah's parents.
So when I would see little Timmy out, running around with my favorite shirt on, I would get so mad. I hated little Timmy. And it upset me to the point where my parents had to tell me that he was sick and that we were like helping his family out because he was sick and they couldn't afford the medical costs. And I found out as an adult that little Timmy never had leukemia or whatever it was. Little Timmy was never sick. They just didn't want me to beat him up.
You can't give it. Here's the thing about lying, and I'll need to talk to your parents about this. You can't lie about a guy who should be dead within 9 months and doesn't even get thin or lose his hair. There's another way to go on this.
Tori, have you ever had a personal or professional rival?
So my dad is like the sweetest guy on planet Earth, but when we go out record shopping, it's like a war zone. And he will literally grab albums right in front of my face and said, "I got it before you." And he'd brag like for the next 3 weeks. It's kind of crazy.
That is kind of crazy.
It's unexpected. And Derek, a rival for you?
I worked at a hotel as a shuttle driver, and oftentimes you'd have two large groups or families leaving at the same time. So me and another driver would take two separate vans, both headed to the airport, and each one of us had to be the first person there. It was a constant race to the airport, and we had like CB radios, or walkie-talkies, whatever, and we would just taunt each other as we're racing down the freeway, just yelling at each other, saying, I'm going to get there, I'm going to cut you off.
Okay, so
and
here's
families screaming in the back, why are you going so fast? Because you don't want to miss your flight, that's why.
I was going to explain all that to you, but apparently you knew and just didn't care.
The bosses didn't like it, but whatever.
I'll bet.
It's 7:20. It is now time to play the new game that is sweeping the nation. It's a fine line.
It's a fine line.
This is a brand new game from the evil mind of Paul the Butcher, but the prize is very cool. You can win a pair of tickets to see Rob Schneider at Skagit Valley this Saturday night, Skagit Valley Casino Resort. So if you want to win these tickets and play the game, call us right now, 800-252-1025. It's a fine line.
It's a fine line.
This is your chance to win a pair of tickets to see Rob Schneider perform his stand-up next Saturday night at the Skagit Valley Casino Resort. Here's how it works. Danny will give you some fine lines from classic films.
Oh, I totally didn't get that.
To win, you'll just have to tell us which line was delivered by a Rob Schneider character. All right, our contestant, Kyle in Seattle.
Hey, Kyle, how the hell are you?
Hey, doing all right.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
Yes, I do.
And do you understand the rules of the game?
Yes.
Then here we go, my friend. Line number 1. You don't understand. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody instead of a bum, which is what I am. Or line 2, of all the gin joints and all the towns in all the world, she walks into mine. Or finally, line number 3, you can do it. You can do it all night long. Which one of these lines was delivered by Rob Schneider?
Number 3, that's from Waterboy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can do it all night long.
Oh, I should have the award. Yeah, that's the thing.
There you go.
Congratulations, Kyle in Seattle. Not only did he get the answer right, he knew it was indeed Waterboy.
Which I didn't. I had that one wrong. I thought that was Deuce Bigelow.
Oh, you did the impression very well.
Thank you.
Really good.
So our friend Kyle has won a pair of tickets to see Rob Schneider next Saturday night at Skagit Valley Casino Resort. He's going to the Jeep winners window in our lobby to pick up his tickets. You can get all the details and tickets at theskagit.com. 7:20 tomorrow will give you another chance to win your way in. And up next is the big news of the day.
It's huge. If I had $1. Anyway, that's the big news of the day, and it's brought to you by our friends at Goldberg Jones Divorce for Men. Call 1-800-DIVORCE. You can go online to goldbergjones.com.
If you had $1, you'd be broke.
Yeah, I'd have $1.
Yeah.
This morning, President Trump is hanging out with Russian President Vladimir Putin. They got together for a one-on-one meeting. They were by themselves, just with interpreters, and now President Trump and President Putin are holding a working lunch.
I thought we were going to say holding hands. And I was going, no, this news is getting out of control. They are not.
Well, that was after their talks in Helsinki, and now they're dining together.
Right. Here's the thing on this, though. If you wanted to get really down and dirty President Trump, and I think you should, it's your calling card. You're a maverick. You're crazy. You're kind of stupid. But don't use that as your calling card. I got money. Says they don't need an interpreter.
No,
this.
I don't think so
no,
either.
they certainly
I think Vlad totally speaks English.
Yes.
That's a power move, though, to speak in your native language. And like, you don't want to speak the other guy's language.
Right.
You're giving up ground.
Well, over the weekend, it appears President Trump broke royal protocol during his official visit to the UK.
God, no. What?
Well, you know, the British are really upset about this. You might think, meh. But either way, he broke protocol. You can see for a few moments, he steps in front of Queen Elizabeth II. It looks like they're walking together side by side. Right. But then he stands in front of her, cutting her off, forcing her to pivot around him, which you don't do.
It looked weird. I saw it, and it looked weird. It wasn't like he reached up and touched her hat, which, by the way, is like the worst thing I could possibly think of.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. But it's not like that. I thought, and believe me, I just saw it. I wasn't interested till she started walking around him. It seemed like he just outpaced her a little bit. And then 100-year-old granny caught up to him. Is the way it looked. But either way, you can't ditch the queen.
No.
Yeah. He also, I saw he kept her waiting, too. Like, there was he was 12 minutes late to their meeting or something. And so there's a picture of her just standing there, not looking at her watch, but kind of that motion, just like head down, like what's going on? Where is he?
Also in the news, some Georgia police officers are coming under fire for their decision about what happened at an arrest. So they are pulling someone over. It's a traffic stop, and it's a male and a female police officer. They are shown on video laughing and deciding to use a coin flip to decide whether or not to detain her. So they are seeing... What?
Who's her?
The woman who they pulled over.
Okay, so she's done something to get arrested for. Maybe. Depends on the flip of the coin.
It's like borderline. Whatever she did, they might or might not arrest her.
By
Let's
the
toss
way,
a coin.
As a past criminal, I'll take that every time. They're only going to arrest me if it's heads.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're usually going to, the second they say, hi, Mr. Bonaduce, here's what's up, I'm going to jail for something.
You want your chances. I'll take a 50-50
I'll
shot.
take 50. Well, it's not actually 50-50 with a quarter, but I'll take what you got.
Well, they were going to decide whether or not to charge her for going too fast, some reckless driving. They did wind up arresting her, but there were no charges. They're not sure if that was because of heads or tails, but either way, it was all caught.
Those are the only two choices, though, right? Heads and tails?
Those are the only two choices.
I'm maybe the dummy here, but why is it not a 50-50 shot?
I don't know. Google it. It's not.
Okay.
Lands on heads more times.
Because I thought there was, but there's only two options, heads and tails, right?
Right, but if you're going to go heads, you have a 70% chance of walking home.
Wow. I did not know that.
Well, police
Well,
are
I
not
could be
supposed
totally
to.
wrong. I just don't think I am. I think it lands on heads like 6 or more times out of 10.
Oh, I'm
more
picking heads
frequently.
now.
Yeah, always, every time. Unless there's carpet or it's a dime. Different thing.
It depends on the coin. If it's for a quarter, the heads is heavier, and that's why it lands on its side more. But either way, police are not supposed to decide your fate based on a coin flip.
No,
Yeah,
it's totally true.
but I'm
I
on
think
board
they should
with
do it
Dan.
on a judo flip. They just grab you, throw you to the ground. If you don't complain, you get to go free.
A family had noticed their tomatoes had been going missing and decided to get to the bottom of it. They thought it was a squirrel. Now, this is the time
Trying
of
to get a
year
nut.
for plants to be really blooming. They had tomatoes and strawberry plants, and they would leave for the day and then notice when they got home, all the fruit was gone. They're like, it's got to be a squirrel. But there's nothing left behind. Like if a squirrel was eating it, wouldn't the squirrel leave a mess on the ground?
Right. And are squirrels notorious tomato lovers?
No, but
No.
they have seen them in the past, but the squirrels would then eat them and there'd be seeds and detritus on the ground.
Yeah.
What would there be?
Detritus.
Detritus, there's leftover detritus.
Do you have detritus?
I think I do. I feel like I do.
Is she making up detritus?
I'll
or is it
recover, though.
Did she Google so she can say words we don't understand?
I don't know.
There'd be carnage.
Let me open up my thesaurus. see if detritus is in there. It could be a deer. A deer could just walk
They
over.
got tons of detritus.
Yeah.
Well, it turns
no, they eat
out
it whole.
it was a man,
Oh.
the postman.
Oh, he not only rings twice, he then steals your stuff.
They
Terrible
decided
slogan.
to set up a camera, and lo and behold, there's the postman eating their tomatoes and strawberries, stealing them so there wouldn't be any detritus left
All right,
behind.
can't have any detritus.
You know detritus, waste or debris of any kind.
Is that? Yeah, of course I do know that.
Everybody knows that.
Those detritus. It would be detrimental to your health to not know detritus.
Everybody knows detritus. It's a noun.
It's one of my favorite words. What is it? Is it a noun, Paul?
It is, yeah. Like waste, refuse, rubbish, litter, scrap, rubble.
Litter. I
Click
didn't
here.
even know she needed to be set on fire.
Click here for more. Oh, wait, don't say that part.
All right, turns out it was the postman, and they figured it out. This has all gone viral, and they said, we don't want him fired. It turns out he has apologized, but not really given an explanation. So he said,
I love tomatoes.
I mean, think about it. You go to somebody's yard and there's beautiful tomatoes and strawberries everywhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to resist.
Well, it's weird. I wouldn't do it because of the size and the specific specificity
The
of
specifics
the tomatoes.
You really got her with that one.
Yeah, I did. Of the tomatoes, because I steal plums on my way home all the time. First
Really?
Street and Blaine. Yes, I do. And now I just noticed somebody's got a cherry tree. I didn't even know you could have those off
They
of farms.
do?
Yeah. So I
In
grabbed.
Queen Anne?
Yeah.
Wow.
I know. It shocked the hell out of me, too. Shocked them, too. They're gone now.
We have cherry trees. This is the first year that we've gotten cherries.
So
it's really
imagine
exciting.
if the postman went up to your house, Paul, and stole all your cherries.
I would be furious.
Yeah, furious. But
Yeah.
what if he stole 3?
So we know that we're going to lose some of our detritus. No,
No.
some of our fruit because we have deer, and so deer will come over and eat my boysenberries or whatever. But if it's a person doing it,
The deer will eat your boys and berries?
Boysenberries.
What are you training that thing to do, Paul? Come here, eat my boys and berries.
all right, raspberries. The
Oh, yeah, raspberries,
deer will come
I
over and eat my
understand.
raspberries.
Sure.
And probably would jump up and eat the plums off our plum tree or the cherries off our cherry tree, and we're okay with that. But if a human does it, I'm mad.
I know they on your property, like you'd have to get involved with your property. Here's
Yeah.
the reason I say all this is I really do take fruit off these 2 trees.
Yeah.
One is like on the city side of the sidewalk. There's the garden, there's the yard,
Yeah.
then the sidewalk, and then a tree right where you would park your car under it. I say
Right.
those are mine.
Oh no! The homeowner is responsible for that tree. They have to take care of it. If it does damage, yeah.
You're a
Well, there
thief,
is
Dan.
doing damage. It's making me into a thief. I'm not a great one. Because I got yelled at for the plum lady, remember?
The plum lady yelled at you for stealing her plums?
Yeah, I was going to say no, it wasn't like that, but yes, it was exactly like
No,
that.
you did not tell us
Oh,
that.
Yeah, she said, don't do that.
She said, stop stealing my plums.
And
She's right.
I said, it's not like plums grow on trees. Oh, and she did not laugh once.
Also making big news this morning, Hulk Hogan.
That is big news. I've seen
They'll
it.
be trying to drink their own sweat to survive, brother.
Wow.
Turns out Hulk is back in the WWE's good graces 3 years after he was caught on tape using bad language.
Bad language or racist language?
Racist language.
Yeah.
A specific word he used. He was kicked out of the Wrestling Hall of Fame. He is back in.
We've been hanging and banging, brother.
And somebody's eating his boysenberries.
The WWE issued a statement last night saying after a 3-year suspension, Hulk Hogan is being reinstated in the WWE Hall of Fame. So,
Good.
yeah, he, enough time has gone by.
Did he flat out say the N-word? Is
He
that what he
did.
did? All right, so he's on, I guess, a phone call with a buddy. Because I know the guy. He's the sweetest guy in the whole world. I think he thought he could say anything on the phone with his buddy, whatever. I also think, well, you got to be fired. You got caught saying that word. You're done. I like a 3-year suspension. Like that you can try real hard to come back. I approve.
Do we know, is he going to wrestle again? They got to put him back in the
he's
ring.
600
right?
years old, man.
Still.
With bad joints.
He'll be back in the ring, I bet.
You can't let him break a hip.
No, he'll die.
6 months. That's the big news of the day. It's brought to you by Goldberg Jones. Divorce for Men, 1-800-DIVORCE, or online at goldbergjones.com.
Yeah, you thought it, and you were right. Coming up, there's more with business news with Jim the Flagger.
And now, business news from Jim the Flagger.
Barnes & Noble's sudden firing of its CEO after only 14 months on the job dealt another setback to the brick-and-mortar bookseller as it struggles against stiffer competition from Amazon. The sudden vacancy at the top leaves Barnes & Noble treading water while it looks for a new leader. Their board of directors is having a really hard time recruiting a potential new executive because no one actually believes that Barnes & Noble even exists anymore.
Yeah, no, I was waiting my turn to say that. He's right. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, hey, he just said, or somebody just said, a big announcer voice guy said, you're listening to one of the most fit dudes over 50. Well, how the hell do I know if that's true or not? I'll tell you. Get our app. Do you see what I did right there?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice. On our apps, we've got all sorts of things. One is you can watch our show, and you can certainly listen to our show. Listen right now on your smart speakers. Just say, Alexa, play KZOK on iHeartRadio, or say, okay, Google, play KZOK on iHeartRadio. Yeah, do that.
If you missed it.
Definitely
do that.
It's sound advice.
Yeah, do that.
If you missed it earlier in the show, we were talking about a very impressive teenager who was walking on the beach and was dragged into the water by a rip current, forced to tread water for 10 hours before being rescued.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was possible. I don't know what the world record is, but the world record is not for a kid either.
Yeah,
because it's super hard. Have you ever tried it for distance to win a bet or do anything stupid?
Not for any length of time. Yeah, a handful of minutes.
Yeah, minutes, not hours. It's crazy.
And I didn't catch when we first talked about the story that the kid was walking on the beach. Like, I thought maybe he was swimming shallow water, got pulled out. So he's not prepared to be in the water at all.
Oh, no, I had the same thing. This guy wasn't swimming?
No, he went for a walk on the beach.
Walking
He
on the
might have
beach. He's got
waded
jeans
in.
and boots on.
But he waded in, whatever it is.
He wasn't wearing shoes and boots, Paul. He was
Jeans.
at the beach.
Okay.
So he is out for a walk on the beach.
Yeah.
And when you walk on the beach, you usually go into like your knees.
Do you know how you
off.
know it's super easy? Because it's a walk on the beach. It's an expression of what's easy, what's good. Oh, a day at the beach.
Well, we also had another daring rescue in Oregon where these dudes were such heroes.
I watched it over and over again. I couldn't believe it was possible.
Yeah, the Chinook helicopter going to rescue a man on Mount Hood. You know, that elevation is insane,
Well,
and they're heroes.
It rested its butt of a Chinook, which got to be 40 feet long or something crazy like
big
that.
butt.
It's a big butt, yeah. Lands its, and the back rotors are going like crazy, and they're what appear to be inches away from the mountain. Then the front of that helicopter is 1,000 feet in the air or more.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, apples and oranges, this is a teenager who's just saving his own life by treading water, is still pretty heroic.
Yeah, totally.
And then, of course, the actual hero working for the search and rescue who were able to get this guy off Mount Hood.
Yeah, just such dexterity in flying.
What is a circumstance you can think of, Danny, where someone's actions, big or small, were totally heroic?
I'll start, and you feel free to ask as many times as you want, because I love me some heroes. Elon Musk.
Yeah, you think he's a hero?
Yeah, I do.
Well,
and not only for what he tried to do for the kids in the cave in Thailand, but he's trying to change transportation. He's trying to change the world. He's trying to save the planet.
Yeah.
Every movie he makes, his company allegedly doesn't even make any money yet. I think that guy is a hero.
Right on. Well, you guys listening, whose actions, big or small, do you find heroic? Let us know by calling 800-252-1025 now or text in 90627.
Theoretically in life, you start out with your dad. Well, that's my hero. He's my dad. Whether that works out for you or not, there are heroes. This kid gets sucked out to sea and treads water for 10 hours. Unbelievable. Didn't even know that was possible. Then there was that Chinook helicopter pilot at Mount Hood. Amazing. The question to you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, is whose actions, big or small, do you find heroic? Call right now, 1-800-252-1025, or text 90627.
We'll start with Hannah in Tacoma.
Hey, Hannah.
Good morning.
Morning.
So the hero is my dad.
Yeah.
And when I was young, I don't remember everything, but from what I recall, there was a huge explosion outside my house. And everybody woke up and we went outside, and there's this big old fire across the street. And it's leaking or burning up this tree in front of a house, our neighbor's house. And we noticed that the neighbors had run out, and my dad realized that their children weren't with them. So he charged into the fire, and he brought the kids out.
Wow.
Dad ran into a burning building.
Burning
and
building
rescued
where the
children.
own parents of the kids ran the street, said, shine them, not worth it. And your dad went in and got them. Well, that is very impressive, Hannah.
He's a hero for sure.
But somebody, shame on the other family that ran out.
I mean, it takes a lot to run into a burning building.
It takes more than I got because I'm not doing it.
Let's go with Lisa in Tacoma.
Hiya, Lisa.
Hi, guys. How are you?
We're very well. What do you got for us this morning?
Well, I think Emma Gonzalez and the Parkland School kids who are kind of giving up their last summer of freedom to take on the NRA and register voters, I think they're pretty brave, heroic kids.
You know, I would not necessarily have agreed with you. They survived a shooting, which was awful, but I don't know what their participation in that was. But when they started getting beat up in the press, when you run out of story and then you turn the other way from these heroic children, that lady on Fox bashed those guys, specifically bashed them, and they kept going. So I am with you completely, Lisa.
And amazingly well-spoken, those kids. I can't imagine. Like, when I was in high school, I did not speak that well. I still don't speak that well.
Uses bad to shoot guns at us.
Right.
We are asking, whose actions, big or small, do you find heroic? You can join the conversation by calling 800-252-1025. Let's hear from Rob in Louisville.
Hey, Rob.
Good morning.
Morning. What's up?
Well, I got to give a little credit to you and Paul. I'm the hero in this case, but I don't think I would have been able to do it without you. About 3 or 4 weeks ago, you and Paul were on the radio talking about wanting to run into a burning building.
Yeah,
sure.
Save somebody. Well, right about the same time that conversation was going on, a minivan reared at a city bus right in front of me. So I jump out and I notice the cab's filling up with smoke. So I run back to my truck and I grabbed a hammer and a fire extinguisher, busted out the window, made sure there was no fire, called 911, waited for the fire department to get there. It took them about 45 minutes to cut him out of the car. But they said my actions probably saved his life from smoke and inhalation.
Well, I will tell you this, in all seriousness, Paul and I saved their lives.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what I...
Rob, you are so right. Danny and I are such heroes.
You know, if it weren't for us talking.
Right.
No, congrats. You know, and it's weird because it makes me feel good. We're some way involved. He gave us some kind of credit. That's wonderful. But the good news is you actually did that. You didn't talk about wouldn't you love to save somebody. You actually did that. Pretty cool, man.
Very impressive, Rob.
But now, is it just me, or do you expect every other caller now to give us credit for their act of heroism or someone else's act of heroism?
Just so you know, I assume credit. People
As
call
well
me
you
and they
should.
say, it's so funny. My dad one time gave me $5. I think I gave you those $5. I'm totally responsible.
Whose actions, big or small, do you find heroic? Let's talk to Doug in Mount Lake Terrace.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Wow. Yeah, my dad was my hero. He saved the ferry from washing up on the beach one night. The steering went out on it, and he threw a ladder over the bow of the thing in the night and went down with a flashlight in the water and refitted the cable back up to the rudder and saved the whole thing from washing up on the beach.
That's amazing. And you know who's
Nobody knows
really
about
to get credit for this?
Me and Paul?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'll tell you something about your dad's refitting that thing. You ever seen the rudder on a ferry?
Yeah.
That's probably a ton.
It's enormous.
Yeah, it's enormous. That guy did that is pretty cool. All right, let's stay with water. I'm going with Sully.
Yeah, of
Sully,
course.
absolutely.
Sully Sullenberger.
Tom
I
Hanks.
can't believe nobody's called in yet. I figured we'd give
I've
them
been
the
sitting on it
chance.
for an hour now, waiting for somebody to call in. But yeah, I got to go with Sully.
Yep.
The miracle on the Hudson.
Dave in Federal Way, whose actions, big or small, do you find heroic?
Dave?
Hello, guys. Good morning.
Morning, Dave.
Hey, I'm not saying it's right, but I think it's pretty heroic what President Duarte is doing for his country, for the drug dealers in the Philippines, over 12,000 dead. He says, how do you kill a snake? You cut the head off.
Right.
off.
What if it's just your garden snake and does no damage to anybody and actually helps your garden and you cut his head off? Because our friend Dave is saying the president of the Philippines who kills people without trial is heroic. I find it, you know what I find more heroic than that, to be honest? Dave saying it. He must have thought about the consequences. I would never say it. I would chicken right out if that's what I believe.
There is no chicken in Hop a Day from Gone.
So, yeah, I don't agree with you even a little bit, Hoppa Dave, but I admire the fact that you said it.
He didn't even seem to agree with himself. He said, I'm not saying it's right, but it's heroic.
Well, he kills people in their sleep. Of course it's not right.
I guess, he's right in that he is taking the war against drugs to a next level. He's just crazy on every level, getting there.
Right, and murders innocent people, and I think a couple of kids have died in that whole thing. No, not allegedly. He did it. I saw him.
Yo with no pants in Olympia texted into 90627. She says Mr. Rogers is a hero.
Totally true.
He showed us all to be how to be neighborly and be good citizens of the world. And our buddy Andrew down in Kent says Sarah's my hero because every day she doesn't strangle Danny and Paul, even though she probably should.
My hero too on that level.
Let's talk to our friend Denisha in North Bend.
Hey, Denisha.
Oh, hi.
Hey, listen, this is like something my mom bragged on when I was a kid. We were horseback riding, two horses, my brother and my dad in front, and my mom and I in back. And this nag that we were on got my mom's foot caught up on a tree, like a big tree, and it wouldn't stop. The stirrup was, she's going to tear her leg off. The horse is a nag. So I jumped off, and I backed up the horse and got control of the horse and made it stop. But my mom, I'm so proud because my mom said I saved her leg, I saved her life.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That is fairly great. And I realized what, how brave that was. I was on a nag one night. She said, you should take out the garbage more often. And I said, no. There was a huge fight, and I ripped off her leg. Or maybe none of that happened. I'm not sure.
I have to do one other text. Aaron on Joint Base Lewis McCord said, all my brothers in my platoon who had my back in Afghanistan, those guys are the real heroes. I wouldn't have made it home without them.
Boy,
of course.
Not
Great
that
text.
these are ever a contest. Sometimes we
Yeah.
say winner and stuff like I'm going to do right now. Kind of winner, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Follow that up, Paul. Who do you find to be a hero?
Last year, Hurricane Harvey, there were so many, and Houston flooding, there were so many stories we heard of heroic acts, but one of my favorites was a guy who owns a chain of furniture stores down in the Houston area. Mattress Mac, they call this guy.
Yeah, I remember this. You're right.
And they sell mattresses and couches and chairs and everything. And he opened up a bunch of his stores as like temporary shelters for people who were displaced. And so he had all his stores, furniture stores, were just full of people sleeping on the beds and the couches. And
there were other people who did not.
There certainly
That
were.
Joel Osteen guy, allegedly. Now, that's why I'll say allegedly, because I don't want to believe it, because I like that guy.
Eventually did, but at first was saying, there's just no access to it. And then people started posting pictures saying, I just drove up to the church. There's no problem getting here.
Yeah.
But yeah, he opened up his stores. He had some of his trucks go out and help with like evacuations and stuff, big box trucks and rescue people. I
That's
thought
a
that was a
hero.
really cool story.
Yeah. Tori, follow that up. Whose actions, big or small, do you find heroic?
Sometimes I go with my mom to the Veterans Hospital in downtown Seattle and we volunteer. And there's this guy named John who comes in and he'll play guitar for hours for free for the vets and play their favorite songs from like the 40s and 50s. And a lot of the vets are kind of not all there mentally, but when they start hearing their music, they'll start singing and dancing. And
Let me just see if I have this right. Earlier today in the show, Tori spends quality time with her father record shopping.
Yeah.
Then later in the day, hey, Mom, want to go down and help out veterans? Let me say one thing for sure. I hate your family. Oh, my God. Well, who's really like that? They're like too good to be true.
They are good people, but think about Tori with her actions. She's risking their lives every time she goes there. Those old men and women seeing scantily clad Tori, that's a heart attack inducing.
Why the hell is she scantily clad?
Have you ever seen Tori?
Yeah, she says to that guy, you should get out of bed. And he says, oh, I've been up for a while now.
Derek, follow that up.
Yeah, why are we saying that? Yeah.
Well, there's some other behavior that Tori has that may be heroic or crazy. This has happened multiple times. We'll be driving around, like going out to lunch or whatever, and all of a sudden I hear a screaming voice yell, pull over right now. And I go, okay, so there must be an emergency. So I pull over, she jumps out of the car, and I see her bolting towards a dog that just happens to be walking down the sidewalk with no owner. She thinks the dog is lost or in trouble or in distress. So her answer is to run up to a dog that she doesn't know that's alone, and she's going to save it somehow. I don't know what her plan is.
Wow, how big is her freezer, man, that she's getting dogs now?
And I would say continue to do it because things only happen multiple times while you're young.
Oh, thanks for your calls and texts. We'll be back in moments with the news. News is brought to you by Johnson RV. Well, President Trump and President Vladimir Putin have been hanging out all morning. They've been in Finland, where they got together before their meeting and said, what's up, everybody? Then they went and had their one-on-one meeting. And then they came back out and said, what's up, everybody? And then they went to lunch.
So far, it sounds like one of those It's Only Lunch dating services.
It sounds like that everything is going okay. What has leaked out is that there was no conversation about the meddling in the election.
Right, which he says he's going to ask very sternly about.
Well, from what we are hearing, that has not happened yet. But as I said, they are presently having lunch together and things seem to be going acceptably.
Like I said, I look for things to like about him. He's our president, for God's sakes. They're hard to find. He's a big fat jerk face. But when he says, hey, maybe we should get along with the Russians. Maybe it wouldn't be bad for us. And I think, that's right. How can that be wrong? And then I wait for him to just go there and screw this up somehow. Because I did not vote for the guy and wouldn't again. But, I look for reasons to like our president. He gives me so few.
Yeah, so I'm looking at there's, people there who are live tweeting and doing live updates. They say they're actually speaking right now to the press and that they are supposed to talk for some time. And of course, we'll get that audio when we can. You
know who's not tweeting live? Anybody that disagreed with Putin. 'Cause they're dead.
Yeah.
In local news, looks like Washington is seeing a scary trend when it comes to car crashes and pedestrian deaths. An upward trend.
Right.
And taking a look at who's got it the worst, Vancouver.
Really?
Vancouver ranks the highest in
I'm taking
Washington.
my kid there this weekend. I better not let him drive.
The other Vancouver.
This is Washington State.
And how do you know I didn't mean that one?
Because I know you're not going to Vancouver, Washington.
That's totally true. I can never get that one straight. Does everybody know the second you say Vancouver?
Well, she said Washington State statistics.
I should pay more attention.
It looks like Vancouver, Washington ranks the highest in the state for car crashes and pedestrian deaths. Now, taking a look statewide, it's all bad. And they said, looks like Mill Plain Boulevard and Chocolove Road are the worst. They said just too much congestion, and they're trying to figure out how to get these numbers to come back down.
Take people's phones away.
Yeah.
That's my answer.
Lock them so they can't be used, like a breathalyzer in your car.
If I didn't come up with a plan, yeah.
They've developed that technology for the cars. Like if your phone is moving at a certain speed, it can lock out phone calls and text messages and stuff. Yep. Right now, it's an opt-in. Like you have to download that app, choose to do it. But I think eventually it might be something. I've heard that insurance companies are offering some discounts if you. Mm-hmm. If you elect to use that technology, why not do it when you're walking?
Right, especially for kids. If parents are letting their kids use the car or it's teenagers, they should use that.
Oh, I want to use so much super secret spy technology if my kid ever wants to go out.
Sure.
I want to know where you were, how long you parked there, how much gas you used, what your top speed was.
Yeah, I don't get there's some experts who say, we have to respect our kids' privacy.
No.
I'm reading everything, watching everything, tracking everything for sure.
My parents enjoyed my privacy. Look what happened.
Yeah. Thank you for double proving that point.
Yeah, totally.
Over 30 passengers were hospitalized, some complaining of bleeding from the ears after a Ryanair flight plummeted 28,000 feet in less than 10 minutes over the weekend. There was an in-flight depressurization on this plane that was carrying 189 people from Dublin to Croatia.
Wow. Ooh.
It had to make an emergency landing in Germany.
So just in time to see their butt kicked, you got in a plane accident.
Well, 33 people needed to be taken to the hospital. Headaches, earaches, nausea. Some people, as I said, had bleeding from the ears. And some of them were told you can't fly. It's too dangerous for you to fly because of what the pressurization did to your ears.
Ever again? Really?
No, till your ears heal. Like if you blow an eardrum, you're not supposed to fly. It's very dangerous.
That's one way to get a ticket.
And they're still not... saying what?
It's not.
No, I'm with you. I just to get a plane ticket.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Still not saying what caused the plane.
Steve Drum was selling tickets
to nosedive.
Yeah.
So they're just stuck in Croatia until their ears heal. How long does that take?
That takes about the same amount of time if they just busted the skin on their eardrum. About the same time as a decent cut on your arm or scraped knee. Because that one has happened to me before.
Really? What if you're bleeding out the ears, though? That guy seems like he's got it more serious.
I don't remember that if I was ever... but Mario Lopez punched me and broke my eardrum, the bastard, and it hurt all day.
A 23-year-old motorist missing for a week was found alive Friday night at the bottom of a cliff near Big Sur, California.
Wow.
Angela Hernandez was located by a couple of walkers in the area. They called 911. She was transported to an ambulance, then a helicopter, and then taken to the hospital. So her Jeep Patriot went over a cliff. She was found 200 feet below. Now, she had texted someone and said, I'm going to take a break. I'm tired. And then that was the last they heard of her.
So I could take a break from driving?
Yep.
Because I would think if that person fell off a cliff later and they wrote me, I'm tired, I'm going to take a break, I'd think suicide attempt.
Oh, yeah.
And now they said that they pinged her cell phone and found the last, cell phone tower and figured out if she was driving, if she took a break, where would she be? And she had been down there for a week. 200 feet she plunged.
Crazy.
And could not get out of her vehicle.
So, Danny, 3 days after you've been in this accident, you've not seen any television.
I eat my foot.
Yeah, you've not eaten anything. Do you still want to be rescued 3 days in? Or have you just been like, this is it, I'm done?
Oh,
I don't
no,
even
are
care if
you
they
kidding?
come
I'm
anymore.
clinging to life every step of the way. Come and rescue me. Although I'd like to rescue myself on my way out by carving off my own arm with a penknife and they can make a movie about me. But yeah, I want life.
I can't imagine you going more than 2 days with no television and not just giving up all hope.
They can kill me now.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw myself off the next cliff.
We had somebody call in earlier when we were talking about heroes, talking about those students who survived the Parkland shooting. The real first one was Columbine, and then the next real big, terrible one was Sandy Hook. And right after Sandy Hook, a company started selling bulletproof clothing. This is a husband and wife duo who developed this line of bulletproof clothing, and they say their sales have been skyrocketing.
Yeah.
Really? I got to make my thing.
Yeah, no, these people I think make the backpacks too. That was a big
Correct.
one
I
for the
remember
kids.
that, yeah.
They started making the backpacks right after Sandy Hook, and they said this is a design of bulletproof material sewn into the inside of the backpack, which they can then use as a shield. They said it's become a very lucrative business. They are now making bulletproof versions of the Bible for priests. So a priest would carry a Bible with him all the time.
Wow.
He can hold it in front of him as protection.
So is it the backpack and clothing, or was that what you were saying is
All of
for
them.
clothing? Because when I moved to New York City and I was doing, and New York had cleaned up a great deal, but it wasn't not scared. Like people cautioned me, no, at 4 o'clock in the morning, don't take the train. And what's going to happen? This is crazy because I'll fight a guy, but not if he shoots me. And I turned out I lived right next to the spy store. I walked in and they had kind of a leisure suit type jacket, but okay, nothing special about it, kind of grayish. And it was actually filled with bulletproof panels, and it was a bulletproof jacket. But it was also $1,500, so I couldn't afford it.
One of the designers of this was demonstrating how it works, and she took a gun and shot herself in the chest, and nothing happened.
Oh, she survived.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, normally the story is they didn't.
No, yeah. She
That's
shot
how-
herself in the front
Chest,
with a
yeah.
backpack.
With a gun.
Right.
She makes clothing,
Right,
so
no,
this is
I'm-
all
I've
sorts of
got it.
different stuff.
I'm with you. I'm saying the mechanics of that, of putting your arms out in front of you and shooting yourself with a backpack, seemed difficult.
She wasn't wearing,
wasn't
a, backpack.
wearing a
It was a
backpack.
shirt. So they make clothing and
Right.
backpacks.
And she still did the reach around the front thing and shot herself in the chest and
She
made
just
it.
took a gun, put it in her chest like this, and
I
pow.
get how it
No
works. I'm
backpack.
just shocked she survived.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. all right,
No
cool.
backpack. She's
Got it.
wearing a shirt. They are now selling these jackets, accessories, backpacks, Bibles. They said Mexico and Colombia has come calling, and they are making millions.
What? Oh, I'll bet.
Yep.
Somebody's a genius.
The weather has been hot across the country, and it's the summertime, so the governor of Rhode Island says she's holding summer office hours at the beach.
What?
At the beach.
Chris Christie did that, right? Oh, no. He just went to the beach when it was closed.
That he had closed.
Yeah, that he
because
had
the
closed
government
for his own
was in
personal
shutdown.
vacation.
Well,
Yeah.
could you imagine being the size of that guy and wanting people to see you without your shirt on?
Well, she said that she'll be joined by members of her office, the constituent services, to connect with residents. So if you want to come and meet with her, come to the beach.
So is that you don't have to have an appointment? Everybody can just line up on the beach? And
Yep.
Now, do you
That's kinda
already
cool.
have to have skin cancer, or do you get skin cancer while you're there?
You'll have SPF 60.
Okay. Because now that I'm bald, I worry about sex all the time because it's just right down on your head all day long. But so far, I'm kind of lucky with that.
Yeah.
There is a real-life horror story being brought to you this week by French doctors, a paper being published in the New England Journal of Medicine. A 35-year-old woman went to the ER saying she had fallen repeatedly, was experiencing weakness and shocking sensations in her legs, and it was getting worse. Well, doctors said she had lived in France with a pet cat, no history of traveling abroad, but for the past 3 months, she had been having difficulty riding her horse. They did an MRI of her spine. They found a lesion on one of her vertebrae. They decided to take a look. They removed the lesion in surgery, and when
Was
they
it the French
tested
foreign
it,
lesion?
they found cystic iconococcosis.
Sure they did. Of course they did.
Tapeworm.
No.
Again.
Realize that that's what they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Tapeworm larvae. They have no idea how the heck she got it.
She ate it.
They said it might have happened during her contact with the horse or other animals. She had.
No, don't say
No,
it.
now see how I won't do that.
We
one.
can think
See,
it, but
yeah.
don't say it.
If you go up to a farm and pet a cow, for
Yeah,
example, you
that's what we
could
were
wind up
thinking
with
about,
tapeworm.
No,
And
was it you guys that said they coax tapeworms out of
Yeah,
you
they
with
got
raw
to
meat?
They got to lure it out with raw meat.
that was a
That's
conversation we
crazy.
had off the air that we might want to
That's
keep
why you wouldn't
that
put
way.
it on the air, because it was interesting.
Well, I had theorized you had a tapeworm, and I have no idea why I theorized that.
I don't know, but then you wanted me to lure it out, and I said no, thank you.
And I said, come on, please.
Not a
And
job
you said,
that-
you don't have a tapeworm. And I said, so? Do some luring.
Stay down there for a while. You can't be sure.
Why was I trying to make Danny think he had a tapeworm?
I don't know.
Because
It's just
you're cruel
fun.
and unusual.
Yeah.
A Wyoming city has discovered its potted plants have gone to pot. Officials in Powell believe pranksters planted marijuana seeds in city-owned flower pots this spring, leading unsuspecting city workers to water and care for them.
Yeah.
It was only till they got bigger that said, that's marijuana plants.
Yeah. And that one, I don't know the last time I heard of that, people said, we don't know how this happened. And I'm thinking, prank. It's got to be a
Yeah.
prank. And the ones I saw, I think they were in Denver, and they were in those planters that hang over a streetlight. So people went far. They went up on a ladder to plant that stuff.
Yeah, somebody went out of their way to pull a prank on the city. I mean, it's pretty funny. I'm sure the people who run the city didn't laugh.
No, but I mean, most pranks are better the more elaborate they get, I think.
A Texas man heard an unusual sound coming from his fireplace. And no, that wasn't it.
That was pretty unusual, though.
Yeah, I thought so
You want
too.
to try again? That one was incorrect.
I
Paul, you want to try?
can't believe you did it. That's the one.
Did I get it right?
No, Tori, do you know what the unusual sound coming from his fireplace sounded like?
I was thinking we should have let this bit die 3 times ago, but that was awesome.
She nailed it for sure.
Yeah,
that had
for
to be
sure.
it, right?
There can't possibly be another.
It was a snake.
Oh.
A snake slithered. There you go. I think Tori's was the closest.
No, I think Derek's is pretty solid.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, this guy hears this sound coming from the chimney, and he goes over there and discovered a huge Texas rat snake.
Oh, yeah.
He decided to take some pictures, shot some video to share to Facebook, and then had his daughter record him while he grabbed it with barbecue tongs and threw it in the backyard.
Wow. Is a rat snake, a Texas rat snake, is it poisonous or venomous or whatever?
I don't think so, but I think they're the ones with that big, gigantic head.
Yeah, that would scare me, no matter
Yeah.
whether it was poisonous or not.
Yeah, and do you really want to find out?
No. Well, unless Paul's there.
Because then I'll suck the venom out.
Are you looking
right,
to find out
sir.
if it's poisonous, Paul?
I'm
It's
trying
not.
to find out, yeah.
It's not,
No,
Tori?
it's a rat snake. It's not.
Rat snakes are not poisonous, apparently, from Tori's attitude.
Right.
Yeah, dummies.
Yes, they were easy to kill and put in a freezer.
Mattress Firm, the Houston-based mattress company.
Yeah.
They're offering a dream job for somebody who wants to be paid to sleep. They're a bed testing snooze turn. So instead of an
What?
intern, it's a snooze turn.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
So Mattress Firm is now accepting applications for a paid internship. Test beds.
Is Derek doing that sound live?
No.
Are you doing that?
What?
He's asleep.
Sorry, what was that?
Yeah, so you can go try out beds, sleep on them, and then you let Mattress Firm know how you liked the mattresses.
That's cool.
while you get paid.
And where do you sleep? They have them delivered to your house?
No, you go in there and you sleep.
Go in there?
Yeah. Derek just quit. That was weird.
That's so weird. You're trying to get with the other sales guys and the general manager tuck you in and say night. It's all kind of creepy and weird. Although I miss those guys.
Yeah.
Man, they were like our biggest sponsor for 8 years or something like that.
And in New Orleans, the Audubon Zoo, a jaguar escaped and killed 6 animals. The male jaguar escaped 7 o'clock in the morning and went to town. It mauled 4 alpacas, 1 emu, and 1 fox. There were no survivors.
Wow. Well, you can't get away from one of those things.
No.
They are pretty crazy looking animals. They're not sure how the animal escaped. An investigation is underway.
Wow, yeah. Somebody took the eye off the ball on that one.
Someone baked it a cake with a file inside. And
That's what happened.
Totally what happened.
Totally what happened.
News this morning brought to you by Johnson RV. We are going to be back in just a few moments with music news, entertainment, and sports. In music news, over the weekend, Pearl Jam were headlining at the NOS Alive Festival in Portugal. They were performing, thousands of people are there, and all of a sudden, Jack White shows up and they play a Neil Young song.
Neat!
Yeah.
Jack White was playing guitar, and they did Rockin' in the Free World, and everyone pretty much lost their mind.
Yeah.
We've got the whole part of it up now at our Facebook page. But Derek, is this version?
Yes, it is. This is Jack White on guitar.
It's tough because it's cell phone video.
No, it's some of the better cell phone video that I've heard. I get that audio. I see it as. And I'd say it was Eddie Vedder. Did you say Pearl Jam?
Yeah.
And Jack White.
Yep.
It's weird. You're the super whammy special guest who's way not nearly as famous as the people he's guesting for. Usually like super famous. Well, although I guess he's as famous as you come, right? But Eddie Vedder versus Jack White, I could pick Eddie Vedder in that fight.
Me too, yeah.
Most people say that Jack White is one of the best modern guitar players.
I hear he is a virtuoso. He's one of those guys that does all the music on all the albums and stuff like that himself.
Over the weekend, Woody Guthrie's Oklahoma hometown doubled in population as thousands gathered for a music festival in honor of his life.
Neat.
This is a town called Okemaw, and it jumps from 3,000 to 6,000 people during this folk festival.
That's doubling it, all right.
This year, Grammy winner Jason Mraz was there, Oklahoma's Turnpike Troubadours. And Annie Guthrie, who is the daughter of Arlo and the granddaughter of Woody, was there as well.
When I say, I would have loved to have gone, what I mean is I wouldn't go. But I would love to go in my head because that guy is doing, or made famous doing, what I really would like to do. Showing up in towns and places with his guitar, with his guitar case open.
Yeah.
I mean, he became huge, being a hobo, essentially. Pretty awesome.
You need to write your own version of This Land Is Your Land.
Yeah, I most certainly do. And then, Jason Mraz played in a coffee shop for years. That's what this guy was about, in a way.
In entertainment news, we found out over the weekend that Downton Abbey isn't over after all.
No.
Well, Seattle ate up Downton Abbey. They had some of the most viewers in the country. We're in Western Washington.
I didn't know.
A Downton Abbey movie was announced over the weekend. The last time they did a movie was they did like a Christmas special. The Brits love doing Christmas specials,
right, sure.
But they're going to have a straight up 2-hour movie as opposed to bringing it back for another season.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so they won't bring it back. It's just they're going to do this instead?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't watch the show, but I've heard wonderful things in the sense of how happy people were to watch that show.
It was really good. But it wrapped, and it wrapped very well. So
No, that was Hamilton. That was
yeah.
thinking of a different show.
Some say Jay-Z, but I say Hamilton stole it.
Well, very good.
HBO has given a straight-to-series order to Joss Whedon's The Nevers, making his return to TV. Now, Joss Whedon was the guy behind Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Firefly and The Dollhouse. He's also done a boatload of movies, but he is going back to HBO. The Nevers is being described as a sci-fi epic about a group of Victorian women who find themselves imbued with unusual abilities.
Neat.
I'd watch that. I don't really know what it is.
You would watch that.
I would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I would watch that, but you would watch that.
I just started watching Luke Cage, which is a Netflix superhero show.
Yeah.
I'm on season 1, even though season 2 just came out. It's really good.
What's the name of it?
Luke Cage.
Because there's a famous hero-ish guy, Nick Cage, isn't there?
The actor?
No.
Nick Cage?
Do I have the wrong name for this guy? The guy in all the superhero movies. He's got a big scar on his face. Samuel L. Jackson plays him.
No, I don't know.
His
know
name
who
not
that
Nick
is.
Cage. All right.
That's Nick Fury.
Fury, thank you.
Am I the only one watching this? Derek, Tori, are either of you guys watching Luke Cage?
I love Luke Cage. It's a great show.
Right
I'm
on.
a big fan of most of the Marvel Netflix series because on the Netflix ones, they're a bit more gritty and mature as opposed to the superhero movies that are in theaters that are more fun and quirky.
Cool.
That's actually very well said.
That really was.
Yeah. Who are you and where did Derek go?
Are you offended that we were astonished that you said something lucid?
It sounds like he was offended.
Sorry, man.
His facial expression certainly looks offended.
Top-notch radio there.
I don't want to say anything else because I'll ruin the smart thing that I just said.
Yeah, no.
That's a good call.
Smart, yeah.
At the box office over the weekend, Adam Sandler's animated Dracula upset Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's hero.
Adam Sandler has a Dracula movie?
The Transylvania 3.
Oh.
Hotel Transylvania 3 Summer Vacation, looking at about $44.1 million.
Yeah. You know what hurt The Rock's picture? That
That
it's
stunk?
stupid.
Now, Skyscraper didn't do terribly, mind you, but a distant second, $25.5 million.
That's a little less than The Rock gets paid, so I look at it as a dismal failure.
Yeah. Now, Hotel Transylvania is on par with its two predecessors, which opened to just about the same, 42 to 48. And the first two together grossed more than $800 million.
Wow, so this is going to break $1 billion.
Yeah, I mean, for the franchise.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry, too. Skyscraper was not a distant second. It was a distant third.
Oh.
Ant-Man and the Wasp came in second, followed by The Rock's Skyscraper, Incredibles 2, and Jurassic World was at number 5.
Second weekend for Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yep. And did $28.8 million.
Not too bad.
It ain't nothing.
That movie is supposed to be good. It's just not really my thing.
It's not my, well, it is my thing. You give me spaceships flying around, superheroes, and love it, love it, love it. I just don't get that.
Yeah.
Oh, so you become super tiny?
Yeah.
And I could kick your ass if I could catch you? Yeah.
Let's take a look at sports.
Sports
brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY. It was a tough weekend for your Seattle Mariners.
Yeah.
They got swept by the Rockies.
Yeah, it was rocky.
It was a rocky weekend for sure. And James Paxton was put on the 10-day DL. Now, we are on a break. Like Ross and
Like Ross
Rachel.
and Rachel.
You don't even have to say it anymore. It's become such a thing that we can all say it. Yes, we're on a break like Ross and Rachel.
It is the All-Star break. Derek, what happens and when for the All-Star break?
Tonight we have the Home Run Derby at 5 p.m. on ESPN, and then tomorrow at 5 p.m. it is the All-Star Game.
Awesome. Thank you. And you know we've got 4 people playing in the All-Star game
Yeah, we
tomorrow.
do. We're responsible for at least one of them.
That's right.
Yes.
What's that dude's name?
Gene Segura.
Yeah, that guy.
Handsome fella.
Yeah, hashtag dreamy eyes.
Speaking of handsome fellas, Danny's favorite quarterback turned Mets star?
Tebow!
I was going to say superstar, but no, it's Mets guy. Tim Tebow is in the news. He apparently has moved on to another Miss Universe. He is dating the winner of 2017, Demi Lee Nell Peters, a 23-year-old beauty from South Africa who now lives in New York.
Oh, wow.
He said she is a really special girl. I'm very lucky and blessed for her coming into my life. I'm usually very private with these things, but I am very grateful.
He's usually very private. You don't really have a job. You're not the superstar you think you are, Tebow.
Well, he previously dated Miss Universe Olivia Culpo back in 2012. She's also ridiculously beautiful.
Here's my guess on that, specifically that, because one of the platforms always is your relationship with God.
Mhm.
To get to be that. That's important to him in up front. He doesn't have to go on 3 dates to find that out.
Oh, yeah.
He just reads their scorecard at the Miss Universe thing.
I'm speculating, but I got to think at 30, he isn't waiting anymore. He had been waiting.
Yeah, and he was vocal about that.
Yeah.
I haven't heard him say anything in a long time.
No.
Yeah, and it'd be stupid. I don't get it. I don't get it past 23, and that's if you're extremely devout. I mean, I wouldn't do it.
And he is extremely devout. Wando saved himself till marriage. But dude, you're 30.
Yeah, you're
Find out
30.
what it's like.
Marry somebody. Anybody.
The Storm defeated the Wings on Saturday. They next play Chicago Sky with a tip-off Wednesday at 9 a.m.
Good tips.
The Sounders a 1-1 draw with Atlanta United. Up next, the Vancouver Whitecaps, Saturday, 1 p. World Cup action. Everybody and their grandmother was watching.
Yeah.
The numbers of people worldwide watching the World Cup is like 10 times the Super Bowl. It's so many billions of people watching.
Really? Is that right?
Yes, it's the most watched event in the world.
Because it's so universal. Like outside of the United States, it's pretty much everyone's top sport.
Yep. Well, it was Conor McGregor's top sport. He went.
Soccer?
What?
Well,
Soccer?
listen to the word. What do you really like? Soccer.
Oh.
I mean, I realized that sounded like there's a female connotation. I just meant socking someone.
Oh, I gotcha.
Conor McGregor went to Russia and watched the World Cup with Vladimir Putin.
Is that right?
Is that right?
He posted a photo of himself yesterday alongside Vladimir Putin, said one of the greatest leaders of our time. Today, I was invited to the World Cup final as a guest of Vladimir Putin. This man is one of the greatest leaders of our time, and I was honored to attend such a landmark event alongside him.
A, shut up. B, fight him.
Yes.
You know,
Oh, that'd be
I've
great.
gotten in the ring with 20 guys, way better than me, but so much better it doesn't cost them anything to not just kick my ass. Who have I like?
Jose Canseco.
No, because he wasn't way better than me. He was just huge. But somebody, I got in the ring with Sugar Ray Leonard. That's right. There was no upside for that guy beating my brains in. I got some pictures. I got to throw my arms out. It was really cool. Vlad should not get his ass kicked, but fight that guy.
I don't think a sitting president should get in a boxing ring
Well, he
with
couldn't
anyone.
do it sitting. That's crazy.
Well, after we found out about him attending the World Cup, we, of course, watched the match and saw France beat up on Croatia 4-2.
Poor little Croatia.
You know,
little Croatia.
God bless Croatia.
Yeah?
Nobody I know knew anything about them and now does. Knows where they are, how big their country is approximately, and especially in relationship to other countries. I think they did themselves proud. They just didn't win.
They did. They definitely did. It was their first time being in the World Cup finals. For France, it was the first World Cup crown since 1998.
Yeah, not long enough to be fascinating.
Well, it'll be first one ever for Croatia.
See, that's
an honor.
fascinating.
Yeah, but they didn't win, so.
Yeah, so, well, still, again, because you're a puny little country, your country's not quite the size of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
That's neat.
No, it is.
John Sin of Indiana is the 2018 World Series of Poker champion, winning the series' marquee No Limit Texas Hold'em main event yesterday in Vegas. He eliminated Tony Miles on the 442nd hand of the final table after playing almost 200 hands against each of the others. He is now, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
$8.8 million richer.
You know what's neat about that besides everything?
Yeah.
Is casinos usually, and in this case also did, or wherever it was taken, I don't know if it was in a casino, but they put the equivalent of $8 million in a clear box, so people can see what you're playing for. So $8 million was sitting there all day long, and when the guy finally won, they dumped it on the table in front. It's a crazy amount of money, man.
Well, the dude he beat doesn't go home empty-handed. He actually takes home $5 million.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
Third place, 3.75.
Well, I could lose by 2. I'm going to go play.
And in tennis, Angelique Kerber beat Serena Williams, won her first Wimbledon championship, and Novak Djokovic handily beat Kevin Anderson to win it for the men. Now, I don't know if you guys remember on Friday, we talked about a celebrity golf tournament, the American Century Championship happening in Lake Tahoe,
Yeah.
where Charles Barkley was at 6,000 to 1 odds to win it.
Yes.
Right.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
It was 3,000, but either way, ridiculous.
Are you going to shock me at the end of this?
No.
Oh.
I mean, I'd love to because that would be fun.
Because that was the bill I'm going, and then he won.
Nope. He did not win. Tony Romo did. Tony Romo, ex-football
Right.
player, won his first American Century Championship yesterday. Who came in next? Who came in after that? You know, like a whole bunch of famous folk. A guy who plays for the San Jose Sharks. John Schmaltz did pretty well. Aaron Rodgers did pretty well. But somebody's got to finish last.
Yeah.
And that would be Charles Barkley.
I thought he'd do okay. I thought, why is he there? And he seems to love to golf.
Dead last.
So he lived up to the odds. That's good.
Yeah. And he was like alone. It's not even like he tied with a bunch of other dudes. No, he was alone at minus 93. Larry the Cable
Minus
Guy
93?
even did better.
Who?
Larry the Cable Guy.
The comic?
Wow.
So did Ray Romano, for that matter. That's your sports. It's brought to you by Bradley Johnson Attorneys. If you're facing a DUI, call 1-800-DUI-AWAY. That's 1-800-DUI-AWAY. Today is Monday, but tomorrow another jam-packed show. 7:50, a filthy forecast comes your way. And at 7:20, tickets to see Rob Schneider next Saturday night at the Skagit Valley Casino Resort. And that is just some of the action on tomorrow's show.
All right, look for that. What did France do in the cup?
Kick some butt.
They won.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. What did Charles Barkley not do?
Win.
Win. You know who always wins?
Your mom.
Danny
Slade.
Bonaduce.
No. My mom, it's been a while. Let me tell you that. It's Steve Slayton. Big
She won
winner.
when she had you.
He's gonna.
Well.
Yeah, all right. Steve Slayton's going to come in the door and he's going to play a whole bunch of classic rock and roll for your listening pleasure. We should get out of his way. It was nice to be back at a long weekend off. Bye.
Bye.